With this time, I go for mine. I get to shine. Now throw your hands up in the sky. I go for mine. I get to shine. Now throw your hands up in the sky.
Hello, everybody, and thank you for tuning into This Week in Startups. Some of you are watching live right now on Ustream, and about 200 of you, actually. We've got a very exciting show for you today. We don't have an in-studio guest, but we have 3, maybe 4 callers calling in. And with your help, we may get 2 more big fish on the line. We'll have more on that in a minute. We had a very busy week this week.
Jason, you just took off your mic.
I did.
Yes, because it's on your... Yeah.
Ah! Can you start the show over? Okay. Hold on, everybody. Microphone came off. We're going to start the show over. Everybody pretend they didn't hear anything. Ooh, 200.
With this time, I go for mine. I get to shine. Now throw your hands up in the sky. I go for mine. I get to shine. Now throw your hands up in the sky.
And hello, everybody. Welcome to another This Week in Startups. I'm Jason McCabe Calacanis. You know me. I'm your friend Jason on Twitter. You know me from my blog, calacanis.com. And it's great to be with you again. I noticed 295 people are watching the show live already. We don't have a major guest in the studio. What we have is a very controversial issue that we're going to tackle head on. Some of you who are on Jason's list, the 17,000 of you who are on Jason's list, got 2 emails from me in the past 2 weeks. One of them was an editorial from me about the concept of startups paying angel investors to present. In other words, the lowly startup, the broke startup, the person with a dream, the 2 guys in a garage, the 2 ladies who quit school for their Harvard MBA and they want to start something big, they go to the rich guys, the fat cats, to get investment. And I found out on this very show 2 weeks ago that some of the TechCrunch 50 were being approached to present at Ketsu Forum and Private Equity Forum and all these things and being charged thousands and thousands of dollars for the privilege of doing so. And this made my blood boil, so I did what I always do. I fired off an email. And it got a response. Well over 1,000 of you responded in the first day. 3,000 people responded over the next week. And we launched an official investigation, as I said we would on the show. Was it 2 weeks ago, the show? 2 weeks ago. I said we would launch an investigation into this, and the Jason Nation did not disappoint. I was flooded with first-case testimonials from people who had presented at the Ketsu Forum, and Mike Segal, or as somebody called him, Scam Segal, forum. And what they told me was very revealing. They told me there were no investors there. They told me that it was mostly service providers, maybe 1 or 2 investors in some cases. They told me they felt ripped off. One of them told me they're preparing to sue one of these angel forums. And of course, all of you had my back. Of 2,000 responses to the email list at last count, only 2 were negative. And those 2 people both had the same point, which is why not let the free market decide if people should pay? And I said, I am the free market. This is the free market. You are the free market. The Jason Nation, This Week in Startups, we are the free market. We are going to ring their bells. We are going to decimate anybody who charges a startup to pay. And when I say decimate, I mean complete and utter destruction. I mean no startups will ever pay to present again. That's how far we're taking this. No angel investor in their right mind will go to a pay-per-play event because they will be ashamed of themselves for participating in something like this. Now, you say, gosh, is this hypocritical? You have an event. You charge people tickets to buy an event. Startups pay. Yes, of course. I'm not saying you can't pay for an event. I'm not saying that you can't pay somebody to be a coach. But to pay $1,500 to present to each of 4 chapters, $6,000 for 15 minutes to a supposed bunch of angel investors is bull beep. I'm not going to say it. I don't want this podcast because I'm so upset and I'm furious. And I don't, Tyler, how often do I get mad? Not often.
Not like this.
I'm on fire.
This is a sore spot with you.
You know why it's a sore spot?
I think people want to know. I know why, but I think people.
But why do you think? I'm curious.
Because when you were coming up, and it's just antithetical to your nature. It's not the right balance.
I fought for everything I have. I came from nothing, okay? And I had to fight to get into this industry. And I'm from the bottom. So I still feel...
And you never paid anything.
I never paid anything. I fought my way into this industry. 15 years I put in dues. And to see people take advantage of the other people coming up, it infuriates me. Because I am from the bottom. I still feel I'm from the bottom. Okay? And I feel for the people who are at the bottom. That's who I am. I never want to be anything but from the bottom. I hate the people on top. And I hate the people on top who are taking advantage of the people on the bottom. That's why I associate myself with the people on the bottom. The people who are up and coming. These are the better people in the world. I hate these people on the top who then take advantage of their position. Oh, it's so expensive to run an angel forum. Yeah, coffee at your office? I mean, what kind of coffee are you buying? Is it that coffee made from dung that costs $100 a cup?
Kopi Luwak.
Is it Kopi Luwak? Somebody look it up? Anyway, I'm on fire. And as you can see from the Chiron, right down here, if you know Mike Segal, tell him to call. Bring him to me. Bring him to me. Bring me the son of Jor-El. You see Superman 2? Who's the guy in Superman 2?
I know what
Zod.
Yeah.
Zod, I am Zod. Bring me the son of Jor-El. I want Mike Segal. I want him on the phone. I also want Randy from Ketsu on the phone. But before we get into that whole brouhaha, I would like to do an Ask Jason. Well, I'm not going to disrupt the entire show for this.
Did you charge these guys anything?
Yes, actually, we have a new system. Thank you, Tyler, for that. If you would like to be on This Week in Startups and you'd like to ask Jason a question, it's only $1,500 to ask a question. Now, I really need to charge this because you know that the 10 minutes of my time to ask a question is so valuable because I'm so goddamn important. You need to pay me $1,500 for my advice. No. Every week, I started this show to give back to the entrepreneurs. I started this show to share information, to have the best possible resource out there for people coming up from the bottom. We never charge them, okay? And you know at the TechCrunch 50 conference, how many people do I get into that conference? How many students do I get in? How many tickets do I give away for free? It's an expensive conference to run. I mean, that conference cost $1 million to run, or thereabouts. I mean, you can't do it for free. But now everybody's trying to confuse charging for a ticket to a conference. Anyway. We have calls. I don't have my show notes. Sorry about that. Hey, thank you, Tyler. I'll use your Tyler's. So here we go. I'm going to take a call in a second, but I want to do something very important. And this is very important for all the readers. The reason we're able to take up this jihad, and people are a little upset that I used the word jihad. Let me just explain to people. That part of what I'm doing here is entertaining. I'm trying to make, you know how Kramer makes investing and losing your money fun?
Right.
I'm trying to make launching a startup fun. Okay, so if I say Jason's jihad, that doesn't mean that I'm a jihadist, that I'm pro Al-Qaeda, okay? If anybody's insulted by it, understand it's a joke. Get a sense of effing humor. Trying to be entertaining here. But anyway, I am more pissed off.
Oh, someone said instead of Jason's jihad, call it the Calacanis Crusade.
Yes, okay. Well, thank you, Diamond Geezer. It's a Calacanis Crusade. And you can put some flowery music over it. Anyway, the reason we're able to do this is because we have great sponsors. The show, the resources of the show, we're going to have 2 full-time people on the show, is because of the sponsors. Everybody loves Ustream, ustream.tv. They're streaming right now, 400 people watching the show live. They have Mike Segal's phone number in the chat room. This is going to get very interesting. Anyway, thank you to Ustream. They do a great job. Mm-hmm. And also, thank you to DNA Mail. Everybody loves DNA Mail. DNA Mail, they'll host all your stuff, your email, your whatever email service you have, whether it's Google or it's Outlook, Exchange, whatever. Don't F around with that stuff. Just outsource it. That's what we do. Works much better. DNA Mail. Everybody loves DNA Mail. Everybody thank at DNA Mail. Everybody thank at Ustream. And everybody thank our friends over at WebSpy. WebSpy, they do a great job. You're going to need this to analyze all the network activity and diagnose problems and strengthen your security. Every startup should have this. Go check it out, webspy.com. And I think it's webspy.com/twist if you want to get like the extra special web page. Oh, that's not turned on anymore?
20%.
Oh, it is. Okay, so you get 20% off. So it's great being a fan of the show. And of course, everybody knows audible.com. Audible.com, we're going to get into an audio book selection later. I love audible.com. They've been a great sponsor. Audible_com is their Twitter account. So thank at Ustream, at WebSpy, at DNA Mail, and at Audible_com. And we did that Audible giveaway.
Right.
And so we have 50 Mahalo packs going out.
I saw them. All the boxes.
All the boxes
outside,
are here.
right.
All them going out with a crisp $20 bill from my knot. This is poker money. 50 people did it. That's one large. So that's $1,000 that I don't get to buy into the next tournament. But it's worth it to get people into.
How does this work exactly? Because it seems like a no-brainer that you would sign up for this if you're getting a $20.
Well, I mean, what is the already Audible is giving you a free book. So by me throwing a 20 in there, I'm paying for your second month. So you're basically getting 2 months free. There's no reason not to sign up. You can always cancel it later.
Right.
You won't because it's awesome.
Right, but if you canceled, you would get the 20 cash. It's like it takes out all the risk.
It takes out all the risk. And that's what I'm trying to do to people, to get those 50 people. They all did it. So we're going to do it again at the end of the show. We're going to do another 50 people can sign up for Audible Podcast. audiblepodcast.com/twist. So if you sign up at audiblepodcast.com/TWIST, sign up now or sign up this week, send your receipt, the confirmation that you paid, your email, to alex@calacanis.com, or contact at This Week in Startups is better. Contact at This Week in Startups, put Audible in the subject line. We'll give you a Mahalo pack, which is this box here. And in this box is the Mahalo bag, the Mahalo beach towel, the Mahalo mug, and the Mahalo iPhone cover. And a Mahalo hat, maybe, if we have enough left. Anyway, you can get a $50 Mahalo pack. All your friends will be thrilled that you actually have Mahalo swag, and they don't. And you'll also get the Audible and a $20 bill from me. Pretty good deal. Anyway, thanks to the sponsors. Let's do the Ask Jason. We'll get these out of the way, and then we'll get into the Karetsu Forum stuff and all the Angel Forum stuff. Let's get a phone call in here. Who is our first caller? He's from the 856. I don't know what that zip code is, but let's get Sam on the phone. He has a question for us. So, the phone is ringing. I hit speakerphone. Sam, are you on the line?
Yes, I am.
Okay, Sam, I'm going to raise your volume for you. Sam, let me hear your voice. Tell me where you're from.
I'm from New Jersey, New York area.
New Jersey, New York area. Specifically in New Jersey or specifically in New York?
New Jersey.
Where in Jersey?
Lodi.
Lodi, all right. Very good. Okay, so you have a question for us. What is it?
Yeah. It's me and a couple friends basically started the video podcast network. We're still pretty young at the startup and pretty inexperienced. But we're at a stage where we're starting to look for potential sponsors and like talking to them.
Sure.
And we're trying to figure out what sort of terms we should be looking for. Like a lot of them were talking. What are our metrics? How many viewers we have, and all different things. But we're still kind of young, and we don't have this kind of numbers yet. So since you're in a space,
Sure.
I kind of see what you think.
Okay, this is a great question. I went through this at Weblogs Inc. when we did Engadget, Autoblog, Joystick, Luxus, Yadling. We didn't have the numbers that would naturally draw people to advertise there. So what you have to do is you have to find people who are endemic advertisers. And what endemic advertisers mean is they're advertisers who are native to the space, to the topic. So in our case, Ustream, WebSpy, Audible, DNA Mail, these are all endemic to the technology space. So they have an affinity for the topic. They like the topic of startups. In fact, one of the 10 biggest companies in the world called This Week, and they want to be the top level sponsor of the show. If they do, it would take the show to a whole nother level. Not that we don't love the current sponsors, but this would be like a sponsor to end all sponsors that would just lift everybody, including the existing sponsors, up. So you have to be patient. You have to get endemic advertisers. You have to meet with them, and you have to transfer your passion to them. So you have to talk directly with them and say, we don't have the numbers yet. It's a new show. It's a show about this. This is why we created it. You can see the passion of the audience in the comments. Yes, it's only 500 people who watch it, but they're really passionate and they're really engaged. And we want you to take a flyer on it. And if you do, we're going to give you the inventory at this rate, let's say 50% off. And if you re-up after 10 shows, whatever, we're going to continue giving you that discount, and you will lock in the space. So people feel like they're getting something for taking a flyer on you. Tyler?
Yeah, Sam, are you familiar with Gary Vaynerchuk?
Yeah.
Okay, so Gary has this brilliant video where he breaks this down, and he says, he gets this question a lot as well, because he's got sponsors for his show. And he says, here's how I do it. And he says, now let's say you're a plumber, and you got to dig up this clip because it's priceless. It's one of the best clips ever. And he goes, let's say you're a plumber.
The AdSense?
Say again?
Is that the same stuff where he calls, like he goes on Google and like Google's a certain topic?
Right. He says, I'm a
calls
plumber.
the
Let's
first person.
let's see who's advertising for plumbers on,
Yeah.
search up Google search for plumber. You see who's advertising, get their number, call them up, and he says, look, I'm a plumber. I have a show about plumbing, and would you be interested in sponsoring? They say, well, send me some info. How many viewers you get? By the end of the call, he basically has them on as a sponsor. It's pretty brilliant. By the way, Gary's going to be our guest next week.
Oh, yeah, because Gary's book, Crushing It,
Right.
or
But
Crush It, came out this weekend. So anyway, that's the way you start the ball going. Then you have to literally make love to the advertisers, which is what I try to do on the air. I try to get them really excited about it. I try to get the advertisers to actually feel the impact of the viewership. So I love these guys for doing it, and they love the fact that our audience, if I go on to Twitter right now, you're going to see a lot of @DNA mails. You're going to see a lot of @WebSpy. So I figured out that's like a unique way that we're doing this sort of make them feel you, which is always the term I use, make them feel you advertising. So I want to make Audible feel us. That's why I'm doing that special Mahalo Pack promotion. I want them to say, holy cow, Calicanis got 50 people signed up. Or when I did the Full Tilt sponsorship for the main event, I went out of my way to wear the Full Tilt stuff, make a nice outfit, wear an Armani jacket with the Full Tilt logo, and create some buzz about it. So you got to then go to work for them and try to get them to actually feel the impact. And if you do that, it will all come together. And of course, you have to get traffic at some point. If you always remain a boutique thing, you're not going to break out. And when you said network, that always gets my radar up. Don't go so wide that you do not go deep. We had a lot of blogs at Weblogs Inc., but we had a hit in Engadget. We had a hit in Autoblog. We had a hit in Joystick. And we maybe launched those as numbers 15, 16, 17, or whatever. And then we launched a lot of other ones. But we made sure that we had some hits, because the hits then create a halo around the other brands. So we have Kevin Pollak's show and my show here. When we do This Week in Marketing or Advertising, whatever we call it, we have two shows with a nice halo around them. The third show is going to get easier. But we're not going to launch 20 shows at once. That makes no sense. Does that help at all?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely does. I mean, that's kind of my focus is to make kind of like one show and then kind of cross-promote. But you need that one hit, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, our biggest thing is like, what kind of, because it's not the same as web advertising. It's when you're doing video, we kind of want to more of a long-term relationship with the advertiser. Yeah. And I wasn't really sure about how to go about what sort of deals, like 10 episodes, 20 at a time, or length, and how do you integrate that with the show and whatnot.
Yeah, so I mean, do a live ad. Look at Leo Laporte on This Week in Tech. He's the master of doing live ads. We always have fun on This Week in Tech with the Audible ad, making that fun and playful. So you can just copy those styles, and you could even start by doing an ad for free for them. If you're lucky enough to get somebody on the phone and you're just starting out, say, can we do 5 episodes for free for you, and we'll do your ads and we'll show you how it looks, and then you can pay us $100 each. Let them take advantage of you at the start, because then you will make it back in the future. Great call. Appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you.
Take care. All right. That was a good one. That took a little bit of time. Let's get the next one. Caller number 2, Robert. Can we get Robert on the phone line? Everybody's got that. Everybody's got that same question. How do I make my first, little bit of cheddar? How do I get my beak wet? All right, Robert from the 817. Where are you calling from, and what is your question for Tyler?
And Tyler, calling from Dallas Fort Worth, and my name is Robert Nahosa, and I started a website not long ago called winbusiness.com. It's like a question and answer community site
Oh,
for
Win Business.
entrepreneurs
Yeah.
and small business users.
Cool.
And so my question is, like, in a build versus buy scenario for, startups like me, what's your feeling on the buy for actually using that for your core business? Like, how do you deal with the varying cost factors on both sides of the equation? Like, so like on the one side, we've got like the positives. It's a brand new hosting service, similar to the CrowdFusion product from TechCrunch 50. It's the same engine that powers StackOverflow.com for like the software developers out there. They use it.
So I see it right now. Did they Stack Overflow make that open source?
No, it's not open source. It's a completely hosted solution. So you just pay a monthly fee, but you do get engine. And me being a software developer myself, I know how good it works. But at the same time, if I want to build a company on it, it's a risk, because if the company does grow, if the community grows,
what are they charging for it?
Well, to start out, for 1 million page views, it's only $129 a month. I mean, it's super cheap. And then once you get up to 10 million, it's $1,000 a month. And then hosting is $2,500, or for hosting on your own rack. But,
so pretty cheap.
It's still not. Yeah.
So the question is, I guess the question is, you got to add features and whatever. So I think this depends on two things. One, how much resources you have, and how big do you want to build the business. If you have a lot of resources and you think this is going to be a huge business, you can spend the, $200,000 it will take to build a Q&A service like this. It might take you 6 months or a year to build out this software, which is probably correct. I would guess it's going to cost. Maybe on the cheap you could make a simple one in 2 months for $50,000 in programming time, but this is not super easy to do. I know, because we have Mahalo Answers, which is very similar, and Yahoo Answers, etc. So I think that's really what you have to contend with. If this was, you raised $4 million from venture capitalists and you're going to build a whole Q&A service for people, well, then you're going to want to do it with your own software. But if you're doing this as a hobby and you're going to see if you can turn it into a business, maybe it's okay to start with this, because you'll get started quicker.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it is really short lead time into getting it online and everything. And, it's just about building the community. That's really the product, is the community and the valuable content that they provide. So, that's cool.
And so where do you see that Stack Overflow software? How do you get that? You go to Stack Overflow? Or is it...
StackExchange.com is the provider. So, the company itself is actually Fog Creek Software.
Yeah,
so
sure. I know.
Yeah.
So
I mean, they're a reputable company and everything. But if they decide, I'm just going to pull the plug on this, and it's not worth it for us to go through all these headaches with all these sites, all these QA sites, then then I'm stuck, and I've got a community. But at the same time, it really is low cost entry. So I would only be losing my community.
As long as you back up your data and you back up your community information and you have the ability to export it, I don't think they're going anywhere. It's pretty reputable. So I would start here, get it to scale, and then think about doing your own if you need more control.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a good question.
Thanks.
When you can outsource stuff, you should. Earlier in your career and you have less resources, you should outsource. When you start to have more resources, you can do more stuff in-house. So for example, Weblogs Inc., I insisted that we have a content platform. I got Brian Alvey to be my partner in the business specifically because I knew he had built 3 or 4 content management systems before that, and that was the match made in heaven. I was the brains on the editorial and the sales side and the corporate side. He was the brains on the tech side and the publishing side in terms of publishing software. And so when we got bought by AOL, they actually bought both companies, one a year after the other. So they bought Weblogs Inc., and then they bought Blogsmith, our software. And now he's doing CrowdFusion, which is like his 10th, which is really good. But it was critical. That's how we beat Gawker and we beat all these other sites, was because we had tools. And then Nick Denton always says, if I could change anything, I would have built my software from the ground up from the beginning. Because he built on top of, I think, not WordPress, the other one, Movable Type, and he hated it. And he had all kinds of problems and, sites going down. And we always had an advantage because we were building our own software. So it really depends on the amount of resources you have. And if you're earlier in your career, sure, use somebody else's. And then as you get more resources, build your own. And actually, Mahalo is a good example of that. We built Mahalo 1.0 on MediaWiki. Mahalo 2.0 we built on our own. Mahalo 2.0, now I look back on it, we shouldn't have started on MediaWiki. Or we should have got off MediaWiki probably 6 months earlier. MediaWiki got us up to 4 million uniques a month. Mahalo 2 took us from 4 million to 12 million uniques a month. And Mahalo 3.0 will take us even further. So never too soon to start building your own platform. And when you get bought and you have an exit, owning the platform adds a lot of value to the company.
Right.
So,
okay.
But then again, for some other things, I'm not saying you should build a database product. You should use MySQL, Cassandra, Hadoop for those kind of components, or Apache. You shouldn't build a web server.
Sure.
You catch my drift.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, man.
Gotcha.
Be cool.
All right, thanks.
All right, very good. Let's go right to Jason's Shark Tank. I want to keep the show moving quickly because everybody wants to get to the big Ketsu forum, brouhaha. And we have 500 people watching live. This is going to be a record show. I bet you it gets to 1,000 people. Yes, I am racing through them, Rafi. Yeah, Shark Tank. Let's play the Shark Tank. Everybody knows the backstory of Shark Tank. There's some TV show called Shark Tank.
That's what I want. What I want. That's what I want.
Right, so there we are, making fun of Shark Tank, taking their intellectual property and making a parody out of it. Please don't sue me. But, however, I will say to, who's the guy? Mark Burnett. I will say to Mark Burnett, let me put the caller on the line here. Hold on, Lucas, 1 second. I got to do a little riff on Mark Burnett.
Sounds good, man.
Okay, give me a second. Okay, Mark Burnett, you're very successful. Your people call me multiple times. They court me, in fact, to be on Shark Tank. And then you don't even call Tyler back? Very disrespectful. I'm sure, Mark Burnett, you're a classy guy. I know you're very successful. You don't need me, certainly, to be successful. However, you got to tell your team to do a better job, because that's just ghetto to be like, start calling and recruiting people and then you don't return calls back. I mean, it's a little crazy. Kind of just a little bit disrespectful. A little bit. Especially to disrespect Tyler. And anyway, Shark Tank is terrible. And this show is much better. That's what everybody says.
That's what Cuban said.
That's what Mark Cuban said. Mark Cuban said, what would fix Shark Tank is me being on it. I'm not lobbying here.
No, that's a fact. That's a tweet. You can pull it up.
You can pull it up. It's a tweet. I'm not going to lobby because I don't think Shark Tank's going to be on the air next year. It's so boring. They do exactly what you expect on Shark Tank.
I think the format is great. It's the people that they pick.
It's a great concept. Dragon's Den is great. It's great when we do Shark Tank here. Jason's Shark Tank. TechCrunch 50 is great. Everybody loves the idea of pitching. And obviously Ketsu Forum and Mike's Scam Seagal that we're going to be talking about later. All that stuff is in that same vein. The people love that. The problem with Shark Tank is they're idiots. No, I shouldn't say that. It's not that they're idiots. They're made to look like idiots because of the editing of the video. Mm-hmm. And they're made to look like they're adversarial with the people pitching. Mm-hmm. The truth is, investors are not against the investments. They're alongside it. They're the cheerleaders. If you invest in something, you're going rah, 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 go, go, go. Not how do I destroy this person. I mean, you can have a little back and forth in a negotiation.
Yeah.
But you don't want to start the negotiation off. Ted Leonsis made this point on his blog. You don't start your relationship off with an investment crushing the person. You think I went to Brandon from Challenge Post and was like, listen, you're an idiot. You need to take my money at this valuation, and I'm not going to do it because you don't know what you're doing, but you need me. I mean, what kind of way is that to start a relationship?
Well, it's like pseudo drama. Like they have to.
It's obviously fake. It was. You know, it's exactly like The Apprentice. Everybody thought The Apprentice was an amazing show for the first season, for the second season, Kelly Purdue, whatever. And then it went off a cliff because they didn't have serious business people on. They went for the stupid celebrity and people acting dumb and, you know, whatever. But when you have serious business people fighting it out, it's kind of interesting. Mm-hmm. And they took Shark Tank. They went the cheap route. They should have just trusted that if they made it a little more interesting and more realistic, it would have went better. But anyway. So.
You got a guy on the call.
I know. I got Lucas. Lucas, you're from the 608. Where's that? Where are you from?
This is Lucas from Madison, Wisconsin.
From Madison, Wisconsin. Is that where cheddar cheese
Yes.
comes from? Wisconsin cheddar, right?
Yes, we have very good cheese here, thank you.
Awesome. Send some cheddar to the Mahalo offices. I'm big on the cheese. I love grilled cheese. Anyway, Lucas, you want to pitch on Jason Shark Tank. You have 500 live viewers. The show is getting viewed in the first month after it comes out by about 25,000 people watch the show. It's not insignificant to get this slot. Every week, 30 people want to pitch. No pressure. You got selected by Alex, and you got 60 seconds, so start your pitch.
Sounds good. So, in the modern world, we have an information problem and we have a decision-making problem. There's too much noise and there's not enough substance, not enough debate in politics. Every day, people are bombarded with a torrent of information, but don't know if it's good information or not. And every day, we're making decisions without enough definitive, high-quality information. So we have a solution. Over the past 3 years, my partners and I have created a methodology and designed the functionality for a website that empowers people to collectively and transparently determine if an idea is logical or not, regardless of its popularity. In short, it's a human-powered problem-solving engine, a tool that shows the difference between reason and opinion and collectively rates logicality to reach a conclusion, a true marketplace of ideas where the market determines the quality of the ideas. So we have a patent-pending methodology, we have a development plan and business plan, but this will be some significant work to build. The methodology is necessarily complex, though the user interface will be fairly simple. So building it ourselves wouldn't happen in a reasonable period of time. But we have a strong enough idea to be appealing to angel investors. So I'm calling you, Jason, to hit you with this and hear your thoughts and maybe get some help on the investor front.
Okay. So your pitch was good at the start, I think. I'm just going to give you some general pitch
Sure.
ideas. The pitch was good because you sort of got my interest piqued when you were like, obviously there's a lot of information, so I'm saying yes, there's a lot of information out there. A lot of decision making is very hard to do. I said yes, that's true. Decision making is hard. Separating fact and from opinion, is it a good idea? All these things started to resonate with me, and I immediately started thinking about InTrade, which is a predictive market, or Challenge Post, which is which I'm an investor in, which is a marketplace of challenges and stuff like that. So you did get me going there. However, it ended, and I said, what exactly is the product? How does it manifest itself into a product? So my first question for you is, what exactly is the product? It's a website where
This is a website. It's sort of a democratizing thing. It's combining a problem-solving methodology with Web 2.0 tools. So it basically allows a large group of people, like the U.S., for example, to reach a definitive conclusion about major issues. So you could find definitively which healthcare proposal makes the most sense through this collective intelligence.
I've heard of these kind of things before, and my main concern, and my concern as an investor would be, you have a very big idea. I like that, right? Everybody wants to have a big idea. Mahalo is going to be a human-powered search with Q&A and knowledge, and it's going to be the best place to get an answer to your question, to find information you can trust. Big, lofty goal. How do you do it? And then we started getting into the details of that. We build topic pages, we build how-to articles, and we build a Q&A service, try to put all those things on one page. So I get, like, you have a big goal. I'm worried about how does it manifest itself. You know, figuring out which healthcare thing is the best. Wow, I mean, if we had that would be incredible. But how about trying to just help people figure out which healthcare plan is best for them, or which medicine they should take, or what movie should they see this weekend? I mean, there's a lot of people who have tried to work on this problem. I don't know that you can build a site to do that for everything, can you?
Well, I believe we can, and it does both the big picture stuff and the small picture stuff. It's all user-generated content. And this methodology that we've spent 3 years working on truly does allow people to separate fact from opinion. And, for example, you know, this site can show something to make sense, even if it's wildly unpopular. You know, that's sort of the true test.
So how do you deal with 100 people coming in who are left-wingers or right-wingers who say, you know, I want to have universal communist health care, and the other person saying, I want to have nobody get health care?
We've spent this time making it game-proof, abuse-proof. It's entirely automated. There's no variation. So yeah, it's robust enough that it can take that
Okay.
sort
What's
of.
your background? Where do you come from? How old are you?
So I'm 31. I'm an architect in local Politico, and my partners come from various design industries, and also, of course, a senior web developer as a partner. So we've basically approached it, each of us, from a design point of view, and looking at the academics of it and how to turn it into a real thing. And it's an incredible nut to crack, but
Yeah. Okay.
we've got it.
So good. I think you need to come up with a killer application so that when you pitch it, you can say, Tyler, here's how we're going to launch. We're going to launch with X. Then we're going to go to Y. Then we're going to go to Z. Tyler, you had an insight?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Because the way that you're pitching it kind of almost sounds too good to be true,
Right.
in a way.
Yeah.
So, and that'll
That's the
scare
problem
people.
I've been having.
Yeah, that'll scare people. They're gonna be like, okay, he's a little kooky. This one, we got
Right.
we got a live one here.
Right.
So you might want to give very specific case instances where give really solid examples. Like, have you, instead of saying we solve all problems, start with specific problems.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, Tyler's exactly right. That was a great insight from Tyler. And so I think you did a good job with the elevator pitch. What do your parents do? What's your background?
My mom is my mom's a teacher. My dad's a cop.
Good.
Blue collar kid growing up in the Midwest.
Okay.
He really got into politics a few years ago, and now I read macroeconomics for fun and live and breathe this stuff. So
Okay.
it's been my cause for quite a few years now.
I like it. You got the feedback, which is you have a lot of ideas. They're good. You have a lot of enthusiasm. That's good. You have no basis in reality currently. That's bad. So you're
Yeah.
scaring people for a reason. Tyler nailed it.
Right.
The investors are going to go, we got a live one here. Which, if you're a live one with a track record, great. Steve Jobs walks in and says, I'm going to solve people's emotional problems. We're like, oh, great, here's $100 million, or Mark
Right.
Andreessen or whatever. You don't have that credibility right now. You're just some kid from Wisconsin, making cheddar cheese or something. You gotta come up with here is the application that is already in the market that is working. If you're going to raise capital, angel capital,
right.
you might be able to get away with some mock-ups. So what I would do, I would challenge yourself to make wireframes. Do you know what a wireframe is?
I've got very well laid out Photoshop mock-ups that explain the way the entire system works. So I can prove to you that it is functional.
Good.
Everyone I've talked to about it has been amazed and said it's going to work. It's going to change the world.
Great. So you send me some mock-ups. I'll take a look at them under a friend DA, and we'll go from there. I think
Beautiful.
get some really good examples, and maybe we'll have you call in again. This was a great pitch. I really appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you, sir. This
Who
is
are the
better than the Shark Tank show, I got to tell you.
absolutely? And who are the sponsors of This Week in Startups? I'm wondering if you know.
You broke up a little bit there.
And tell me the name of the sponsors of This Week in Startups. Do you know their names? Just
Oh,
curious.
of course. Yeah, Ustream, DNA Mail. I've already thanked them in Twitter. No, I thank them.
Ustream,
all the
DNA
time.
Mail, and who else?
Ustream, DNA Mail. Who am I forgetting?
Scanning Twitter right now.
He's scanning Twitter.
Audible.
Audible, of course.
Spy.
Right. Okay.
That was
Good.
it.
See, this is why I like to ask that, because how long have you been listening to the show?
Probably about 3 or 4 weeks, but I've watched most of the episodes by now.
Oh, really? You're going back and listening to the past episodes?
Yes. Yeah. I started
So
at
that's
number
about
one.
40 hours of work. What are you doing? Watching
Well, I
while you
haven't
work?
hit it all yet.
Yeah.
Well, so when we filed the patent for the methodology, it was time to make this a real thing. So I quit the architecture job, and I've been working on this full time.
Wow.
Developing the business plan and
Good.
making this thing real.
All right. I like where you're going. I'm fascinated. I want to see the next level of your iteration. I want to see some of the
I'll send it
screenshots,
to
and
you.
we'll talk from there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Beautiful.
Good luck and have a great weekend.
Fight the good fight.
Okay. Thanks, boss. All right. Now it's on like a Donkey Kong.
Now we need one of those main event.
Yeah, where's the
announcers.
ding, ding, ding,
Yeah.
ding, ding, ding?
Now, ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen, coming in at 182 pounds in the red corner, Jason Calacato. And in the right corner, in the pink corner. Okay, we have our first caller. His name is Anonymous. Anonymous pitched the Ketsu Forum. So this is a real life pitcher from the Ketsu Forum. Could this be a jokester who is fooling us? I guess so, but we're going to find that out when we talk to him. This person sent a lot of good details. We're fairly convinced, right, Alex, that this guy is legit. Because he has a lot of details. Okay, so here we go. Let's get him on the line. I will talk to Mr. Pink. Let's call him Mr. Pink, like from Reservoir Dogs. Oh, here we go, on this phone. Hello, Mr. Pink.
Jason, how are you?
I'm good. We're going to call you Mr. Pink, like Reservoir
Right.
Dogs, like Buscemi and Reservoir Dogs.
You shouldn't name me after failed Microsoft projects.
What would be a good failed Microsoft project? Bob?
Bob, yeah, there you go.
Mr. Bob. Okay, Mr. Bob. I like that. Failed Microsoft projects will be... We could also do failed Apple products, too.
Yes.
Newton. Newton will be the next caller. Okay, so Bob, you pitched Ketsu for him, correct?
Absolutely.
When did you pitch Ketsu for him? What year? Like approximately? Last
It
year?
was probably 5-6 years ago.
5 or 6 years ago, and we don't want to. You don't want to be on the record because you're a little scared of these guys, correct?
I don't need any new problems today. And,
Right. Okay.
And so
Fair enough.
But I really appreciate what you're doing and wanted to be able to lend some credibility to it from an outside perspective.
Okay, so let's hear your story. You were a first-time entrepreneur or a second-time entrepreneur when you pitched them? Tell us your story.
No. I had already done probably 3 or 4 startups at that point.
Okay.
Been in the Valley for over 20 years now. At that point, it's probably more like 15.
Okay.
And
So pre-internet.
no, it was post-internet.
Right, but I'm saying you've been in the business pre-internet.
Oh yeah, absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely.
So you're
And,
what we call an old-timer. You've been around.
Old timer, and
Not
actually,
naive.
I was excited when I first got introduced because I thought, oh, this could be cool. You know, a bunch of angels who get together, and it was through somebody I knew, and so I said, well, I'll check it out. And you know, the way they set it up, they do a screening meeting first in Oakland, and all along I had the sense that something weird was going on, and the first clue was the screening meeting was in Oakland. For those who don't know, you know, the world of Silicon Valley, this is nothing against Oakland, which has, you know, a great basketball team and
Oaktown,
a lot
cool.
of startups, but it's not the heartland of Silicon Valley, right?
Right.
So you know, I drive out to Oakland. I get ready for the pitch meeting, and all along I was asking what the process. He said, "Well, you kind of go to this first meeting, and then we'll let you know from there." So I go to the first meeting, and you know, I talk with these guys, and the people in the room, none of them were introduced to me. There were probably 10 people there. The questions they were asking were totally off the wall, and you know, even people admitted, like, oh, well, I'm a chip guy, you know, and this was you know, an internet thing, and so, you know, there was a mismatch in terms of the people who were there. And then Randy did a really strong job lobbying, like, for me to go check out the next meeting, because they have this, it turns out you go through this pre-screening, and then you go on to a bigger meeting with, you know, all of the Ketsu Forum members. That one's, like, even further out of the Valley. It's in San Ramon or Orinda or somewhere.
Crazy.
I don't even remember where it was. It was at the old Pac Bell headquarters somewhere out in the East Bay, an hour from Silicon Valley.
Right.
So
your radar is up for that. And
what's that?
Your radar is up because of the location.
Yeah.
And their questions are not good.
The questions are not good, and I don't know any of these people. Like they're
So they don't even introduce themselves.
No, they don't introduce themselves, other than Randy and the woman who worked for him.
So you don't even know if these people are actually angel investors. From what I'm told from a lot of people, they're service providers, like a lawyer, banker.
In the screening meeting, I think it was real angels. In the bigger meeting, there were many, many service providers, and in fact, I wasn't even presenting. I was invited to go to one of the bigger meetings in order to figure out if I wanted to pay them the money.
Right.
And I went, and I sort of noticed, you know, it was a little weird. And these people would come up to me. I wasn't even, like, on stage, and they were introducing themselves. Hey, I'm a recruiter. Hey, I'm a lawyer. Hey, I'm a, you know, whatever. And I'm like, you know, well, great. You know, I took their cards, but I didn't really want to be pitched on service providers, and so that's absolutely true at the bigger meeting.
Right.
And so, honestly, you know, the process is you go up on stage, you present, and then they pass around this sheet, and if any of the angels is interested, they write their name down and decide if you want to follow up with them. And I don't even, this was so long ago, I don't even remember what happened. The company went on and actually did reasonably well, but it was just it was a weird experience. It was not high quality questions. It was not high quality angels in my view. And I think this whole notion. I don't even remember how much it was. I hear today it's about $1,500 per chapter.
That's what everybody said. Yeah.
And it just goes against the nature of what Silicon Valley and the broader entrepreneurial community is about. When I get a call or an email from some young entrepreneur who wants to have coffee and get some advice about their startup, I do it almost every time. There are a few exceptions where I can't make it or something's going on, but it's sort of a pay-it-forward economy.
Yes.
When I was coming up,
right,
people would spend time with me, and
this is a critical point that you're making. Anybody who is successful in Silicon Valley, Michael Moritz, Larry Sergey, Mark Andreessen, all of these folks, they will give time to other entrepreneurs. And I can't give it to everybody, but they do, because they feel like, gosh, I've been so lucky, so blessed. Anybody who's a real investor does not charge to present to them, number one. Number two, they go out of their way and do it for free. Why? Number one, they're rich already. It's a nice thing to do, number two. And number three, if you do get to invest, you get upside.
Absolutely.
And there's competition for good deals. So like I've been emailing Jack, the former founder of Twitter, who's got his new company that he's doing, and I'm like, dude, can you please just carve out $25K in your startup for me to put in? I know what you're doing. It's awesome. Jack Dorsey,
yep,
who's, and I told Jack, just please, I want to do like 5 25K investments this year. Just hold the spot for me if you can. If you can't, I understand. But I'm thrilled to do that. Local
Absolutely.
Bacon's another one. Local Bacon, who was at TechCrunch 50, I told him, and I told Local Bacon and Red Beacon. I told both those guys, save me just a little slice 25K. I'll put it in if you guys can, whatever. If I, make room for me. If not, totally, don't worry about it. But I mean, it is your honor and privilege to go hear these pitches because you also learn. So you would never consider charging. Have you ever let me ask you this. You ever hear of any real investor asking to be paid?
Never. And I think, that I've seen other people where, we'll help you raise money and we'll charge, a success fee. And those guys are clowns. I mean,
they typically are.
I've run into entrepreneurs and they're like, I have this agent helping me raise money. I'm like, get rid of that guy. Like,
yeah.
It's just, that's not how it's done.
It's done not how it's done.
On the favor bank, and it's about,
yes,
it's about the help that you received when you were coming up through the ranks, as you were saying earlier, coming up from the bottom,
yes,
and fighting your way up, and now it's sort of your obligation and your duty, and it's an unwritten rule, but everybody does it. That's how it works here.
Yeah.
And so when I hear about people getting charged to present and agents and all this other stuff, it just really strikes me the wrong way. It's just not what we should be doing here.
Okay, so now I want to read to you, since you've been involved in this, from the person who worked at Ketsu Forum. Now, the person who worked for Ketsu Forum does not want to be on the show.
Okay.
He's a little concerned now that he may become a legal target.
With
now,
fair reason, I would say.
I think so. I'm not going to push the issue here, but I am going to read you a couple of things from his email, Mr. Bob. Okay, Bob?
Yes, sir.
And I want you to just react to them and tell me what you think.
Okay.
So he says, Dear Jason, blah, 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 your latest effort to play angel pitching, blah, 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 blah. Ketsu recruited me directly out of school. I worked for the company for about 6 months, blah, 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 blah. That is what it takes for a reasonable, ethical person to come to terms with the reality of this scam. There are a number of stories that I could tell you about these networks and the people that run them, and they all would reinforce that you're doing the right thing here. For now, though, I'll draw attention to a few highly relevant points. Now, this is somebody who worked at Ketsu Forum.
Right.
And we have determined that this is, in fact, true. Unless there's some amazingly elaborate hoax that involves creating LinkedIn pages and Twitter accounts a year ago in anticipation of me writing my editorial a year later, this person would have had to create these pages years ago that said he worked at Ketsu for him. In other words, 99% this is true.
Yep.
And he says, point one, these networks charge because they have to. They know that they have their business model upside down. I know that they know this because that was the first input that I offered to the head of one of the largest branches. After a basic strategic overview, my first input was, one side is your customer, the other side is your supplier. One side has money, the other side has ideas. There is this one side that is, by definition, price insensitive, and the other that is, by definition, incredibly price sensitive. Why would you charge the latter group? What is your feedback on that, Bob?
Well, I think it's absolutely true. The entrepreneurs usually don't have money, or sometimes they have some money and they just don't want to invest all of it into a startup. And so, the guys, another unwritten rule, if you go out to lunch with an angel or a VC, guess who pays for lunch? The VC pays for lunch.
Of course.
Because they can. And when these young guys call me up and we get together for coffee or lunch or whatever, even if it's not possible that I'm investing, I still buy them coffee and lunch because that's what people did for me when I was coming up through the ranks.
And you know what it's called? It's called being a gentleman, isn't it? Being a mensch. Tyler, how many meals have we had together over the last 3 years?
Its average is about 2-3 a week, maybe?
Right. So, in other words, you and I have had probably 300, 400, 500 meals together.
Yeah.
A number of those meals included Wagyu.
Wagyu beef, yes, they did.
Which cost over $100 a person.
Yeah.
Has there ever been a time that you've taken out your wallet when having dinner with me? Ever?
Only when you left yours somewhere else.
Right. In which case you got paid back for it. Right. If I forgot my wallet, maybe.
Yeah.
So 400 or 500 meals with me, you've never paid.
No.
Have you ever seen me let anybody else pick up the check?
No.
Right. I mean, unless I'm invited to a dinner and it's not appropriate for me to do so or whatever. But if it's us, I always pay. Why? Because I hit the home run. I'm not going to let you pay. You're going to hit your home run with Mahalo, and then the next guy won't pay.
Well, and what's interesting about Ketsu Forum is the meetings. Like I think the first meeting was held at some lawyer's office, so that's covered by the lawyer. The second meeting was held at the time at Pac Bell's headquarters, so that was covered by Pac Bell.
Right. So this whole idea that it's so expensive to host these things is ridiculous. There's only 100 people at these things, 50 people at these things. It's not expensive. If it was in a 2,000-seat auditorium that cost $300,000 or $400,000 a day to do the operation, I understand, but that's different. Number two, why didn't Ketsu charge the investor? Because no investor was willing to pay to be a member. While they say that they have membership dues, and other branches may very well collect them, I watch as a full year's worth of members' dues went uncollected for the branch where I worked. When I asked multiple Ketsu investors, off the record, what was up, they explained that if they were charging even a cent, they would simply terminate their membership. And why was this the cause? Because Ketsu attracted subpar entrepreneurs. So in other words, this whole idea that they're charging investors $3,000 to be a member, which I think is happening in the Valley, but maybe they may not have the ability to do that in other places, is really BS, according to the person inside there. Okay, anyway, your thoughts on that? Like why wouldn't they charge the investors? And it's just, they don't have a lot of real investors at the event, correct?
Well, I didn't get the sense that they were solid investors. I have no idea if they were charged or not. But if they were charged, what I find amazing is there's 750 members according to I believe it was their website. At $3,000 a piece, that's $2.25 million. Like who is that going to?
Right. Follow the money.
Yeah, it's
what
going to Randy. And so I mean, if it's not happening, then that explains it. But I always viewed
let's
it
say
as
let's say half pay. So if half pay, let's say 400 people are paying, it's still over $1 million. Shouldn't that cover it? And furthermore, I was told that they pitch. This is what I was told by another person that, and we'll see if we can verify this with them, that they actually pitch people on starting local branches, telling them that they'll make over $100,000, $200,000 running the branch in wherever, Texas, Dallas, Houston. So they're trying to recruit people into this MLL scheme, which is what I've been told by many people. They call it an MLM scheme.
Well, that's what
multi-level
it-
marketing scheme. Do you believe, Mr. Bob, that this is an MLL scheme? Yes or no?
Yes, that's
Okay.
what it feels like.
Okay.
And I think, you know, when I look at there are other groups in the Valley, angel groups that charge small fees for people to be part of the group. Like I believe the Band of Angels, you know,
Yeah.
it's like $1,000 a year or something, and
Not much.
It's more of a nuisance fee, so that a bunch of people don't show up at every meeting,
Right.
You know, and sort of use up all of the space in the room. They want to at least have some filter.
Right.
So I could see something like that, but when you start to grow it to such a large size and you franchise it and you put it in all sorts of other cities around the country, to me that sort of smells of a pyramid scheme.
I mean, and it's interesting you say that because we got a chat room now with 550 people in it, and they are all saying pyramid scheme, MLL scheme. Now, I want to note to the Ketsu lawyers who I know are watching, number one, you can't bully me. So don't even think that that's going to be the case. I mean, that's ridiculous. I'm a principled person. I'll sell the Tesla, okay? Put it on eBay to pay my legal fees. And, by the way, 2 lawyers, not 1, 2, said they represent me for free. So bring it on if you think that you got a legal case against me. I never said you're an MLL scam. Everybody in the chat room saying Ketsu Forum is an MLM scam. Everybody in the chat room, if you believe that Ketsu Forum is a scam, I would like everybody in the chat room to say, I believe Ketsu Forum is an MLM scam. If you believe it, that's your personal belief, not Jason Calacanis', not Tyler Crowley's, and not Mr. Bob's. If you believe Ketsu Forum is a scam, I will invite you as well to say on your Twitter account, I've got the suspicion. I think it might be an MLM scam. You could say that. You could say it might be. You have a suspicion it might be. Just like you could say, I have a suspicion that Jason Calacanis is a cross-dresser. Feel free to say it. It may not be true. You could say it. I'm not going to sue you. Anyway, we have a call. Mr. Bob, you've been excellent. I appreciate you calling in. We have a venture capitalist on the line. Bob, you going to listen to the rest of the show?
Yes, sir.
All right. Good man. I appreciate you calling in.
All right, thank you.
Cheers. It's on. It is on. Booyah. Booyah. We got a call in. Here we go. All right. We're naming all of our anonymous callers by failed Microsoft or Apple products. Therefore, caller on the line, you are Mr. Newton. Mr.
Hey,
Newton.
Jason, I'll tell my name.
You will.
Yeah, I'm not afraid.
Okay. By all
Jay
means.
Levy from Jay Levy from Zelkova Ventures.
Okay. So, Jay Levy.
So, yeah. Here's
You're saying you're a VC?
early stage VC, New York based. We do seed angel deals and Series A primarily.
Tell me the name of your firm again.
Zelkova Ventures.
Zelkova. Never heard of it.
Zelkova.
Okay, Zelkova. And there it is, zelkovavc.com. And how long have you been a venture capitalist, if I may ask?
We launched 2 years ago.
2 years ago. And are you a former entrepreneur? Are you just a trust fund kid? Who are you? How'd you get into this?
Unfortunately, not a trust fund kid, former entrepreneur.
Oh, okay.
Consulting company we grew. Did pretty well with it and got onto this side. My partner is a former hedge fund guy.
Okay, so you are a former entrepreneur. You had a consulting firm. Now you have a seed. So you're like a real angel investor. How many angel investments have you done in the last 2 years?
We have done 10 investments.
Okay.
But we do larger. We go anywhere up to $1 million.
And you have limited partners in this fund?
Very small group of them.
Okay. Are they individuals or are they like CalPERS?
It's all, no institutional money.
Okay. And I'm looking at your portfolio. I see Rabbit in there. I know that. I see Ribbit. My Damn Channel. Ribbit, rather. I know Ribbit. Yeah. I've heard of that. My Damn Channel. So, okay. So it looks like you are a legit VC angel investor. What is your take on Ketsu Forum or Mike Segal and this whole pay-for-play angel movement that we're seeing or that's been running as an underground? Have you direct experience with this? Tell us what you think.
Yeah, I have. direct experience with all of them and more that are out there. And the view is, I don't agree with charging entrepreneurs, but the model is flipped, which everyone's talked about. The reason why the VCs don't want to pay is because, one, the quality of deals, and two, the fact that they're charging the entrepreneurs. It's a very big turnoff to us, and it's unethical. So I truly think that if all these groups made a more decent push to get VCs to pay, we'd pay a few $1,000s a year. It doesn't make a difference to us, a few grand. I think on the flip side, it would help their businesses because they'd attract better companies.
Right.
Because there's plenty of great companies out there that can't afford these figures.
Right.
So,
is the ability to, some of them say, oh, well, it's a filtering mechanism, the paying $1,500, or in Mike Segal's case, it seems like he was charging in that email that they sent $5,000 to $25,000. That's unverified. Hopefully we get Mike Segal on the line to explain what he does for $25,000 or $10,000 or even $5,000. Is it true that you have to charge a screening process in order to see good deals? Are the investments you've seen, is their ability to pay to present to you the determining factor in your investment criteria?
Absolutely not. In fact, I don't think there's any correlation into one's ability to pay personally, to ask a friend, family member to pay an entrance fee, have any representation on the quality of the deal.
Might there be an inverse correlation with this ability to pay? Might it be that the people who can pay, who have the money, have not as good ideas, and the people who can't pay have better ideas? Is it possible?
It's possible. I don't necessarily agree, but I think the other inverse is that the people who are willing to pay are probably more hungry to get funding, which means they've had a more difficult time within the process, which probably has a representation on their company, their team, or their concept.
This is insightful. I appreciate you calling in, Jay Levy of Zelkova Ventures. This is a very interesting point, Jay. If you are failing at raising money, you might become desperate, and so desperate that you're willing to pay. And if, therefore, you're willing to pay, you are of lower quality, because the people who can get it for free don't need to pay for it. And I'm not just talking about angel investing here. Some people need to pay, Tyler. Other people don't pay. You know what I'm saying? Did you get my drift?
Yeah. Perfect parallel.
It's a parallel. I'm asking for somebody to at least say to me they get the parallel. So
I get the parallel completely.
Okay, good. And so let me ask you this, Jay. How much time do you spend as a real angel investor at these events?
So I go to these events, and I will tell you the reason I go: to be part of the community.
It's an interesting.
It has nothing to do with finding investments. It's to be, show face, and that's why I think other VCs go, because you get out of your office, you're doing the right thing.
Okay.
There's, it's a circuit is really what it comes down to, and you show up because it's the right thing to do for the guys running it, for the guys presenting. It's just
right. You're trying to be supportive
right
and you're networking. So when you go there, what percentage of people do you think are bona fide investors? Ballpark.
Bona fide investors?
Like they actually made an investment in the last year of $25,000 or more.
I would say, of all these events, independent of which company's hosting it, I'd say if 20%, it would be high.
20% would be high. So when they say we have 200 people at the event ready to invest in your company, that might be 40, might be 30, might even be 10.
Yes. I think from just knowing who the investors are, where we are, I can spot them out. And the other thing is, New York, as you're aware, is it's not the best place for early stage venture money. So we kind of all know each other. Right. So it's a small circuit here on the venture money side. It's not like there's some dude who struck it big in the .com that no one knows who wants to write checks. These people are known within the New York community.
Right. So here is just one final quote from the insider at Ketsu. I want to get your reaction on it. Because it didn't legitimately screen companies, Ketsu lost its credibility with investors, and because investors weren't willing to pay due to lack of said credibility, Ketsu had to keep charging entrepreneurs. After a few months, I realized this was no career. It disgusted me. Within a matter of months, I couldn't do it anymore. I quit, and that's the decision that I've never even remotely regretted. Sound accurate to you?
I mean, it gets back to what we said, the inverse structure of this thing that, since the investors won't pay, the only place they can get it from is, the desperate places, and those are generally, not the viable companies. And it's the total structure is wrong. And I do think that there is, there is examples of situations where this works. I mean, one being TechCrunch 50. I mean,
of course.
Ticket price was what, $1,000 to $4,000, something like that.
It was $1,000 at the beginning, and then it went to $3,000 at the end, I guess, something like that.
Right, and investors were happy to pay for it.
Of course, no, the VCs pay; they don't care. I have Sequoia and Charles River Ventures and Founders Fund pay for a 30,000 or so sponsorship.
Not only do they pay, they sponsor. Yeah.
Not only do they pay, they sponsor. They're on the panels. They come to the dinners. I mean, I have the best VCs in the world at that event. And you know what they always try to get me on? They try to get me on the demo pit. And I really am pissed off about this. Here's what happens. We have hundreds of people apply. 700, 800, 1,000. I think those are the numbers that apply every year. We take the top 50. They go for free. They get 2 tickets. The next 100, we say, if you want to come, we only do this for the next 100 because we can't afford to do everybody. We say the next 100, if you want to buy a half-price ticket, go ahead, and we'll give you a table to present at. So now everybody's saying, I charge $3,000 to present. No. We offer them half-price tickets to an event.
And you get a free table.
And you get a free table with it. And you don't have to take it. And by the way, that's our cost. You know what it costs to put on this event? It costs hundreds of dollars per day per person. Hundreds. And to put a table up and electricity, I mean, you don't understand how much this costs. This event takes a long time to put on. Now that's it. Oh, that's our same excuse. No, wrong.
One of the other things is I would look at it. You don't have to do the demo pit.
Right.
Right. It's
right.
Buy a ticket to the event.
The core event is the 50 companies on stage.
Right.
And don't get me wrong, I think the demo pit is great, and I've found some great companies at the demo pit and enjoy it.
People feel it's a bargain. We get
bit.
people writing blog posts all the time. Demo pit was the most amazing thing we ever did. We got this many investors.
I understand that's where they'll beat you up because it's the only thing they can latch onto.
Exactly. They're trying to get me any way they can, except for the fact that I put up 50 large, 5 high societies, 2.5 high societies for me, 2.5 high societies for Mike Arrington. We put that money up. That's our money for the prize. And we've done it for 3 years, 150 large. That's 7.5 high societies for me. You realize how many buy-ins to the World Series that is? That means I can be playing in the World Series of Poker until 2016 and a half without Full Tilt as a sponsor. Lucky I have them.
Well, maybe you'll win by then.
Hey, take it easy there, tough guy. Came in 3,000 out of 6,500. Next year we're going to cash. That's the goal.
I think I just wore out my welcome.
All right, let me ask you a final question.
Go for it.
If the audience, This Week in Startups audience, created an open angel type forum, and we were to do it in New York as a blown out angel investor, would you buy $1,000 worth of breakfast for everybody?
You got it. We do.
Yeah, there you go.
You got it. Not a problem.
You got a
and
credit
we
card.
actually, similar to that, we do occasionally something called Bagels and Breakfast.
Right.
And it's we have 6 companies come in. Anyone can sign up. You get 15 minutes to pitch, 10-minute Q&A. It's actually very similar to these angel forum type structures. They come on in. We pay for bagels. There's no cost, and we're hosting something like that on our own. And the reason why we do that is a few. Maybe there's a company that just couldn't get through to us somehow. We just didn't. It gives an option for anyone to get in.
Right.
It doesn't. Takes a few hours of our time, and it brings us close to the community.
Where do you,
so,
get the
sponsoring.
bagels? Is these H&H bagels? Where do you get the bagels?
Of course, I live 4 blocks away from H&H.
All right, so we got H&H bagels. I mean, you can't get any better than that. All right, thank you so much. This is a good guy. Can we, Alex, make sure we get this guy's name and information down so that when I'm in New York, I can get a H&H with him? Yeah. All right, thank you.
Sounds like a plan.
Thank you, Mr.
Thanks,
Newton/Jay. Appreciate the call. The next one's going to be even better. Be good. All right. So now we've heard from a real VC angel investor what he thinks. We heard from
presenter's perspective.
We heard from employee's perspective in the email.
VC's perspective.
We need one more perspective here, which is, wouldn't it be great if somebody from Ketsu Forum was on the line?
That'd be awesome.
That would be awesome, wouldn't it? So now that we've had this entire build-up, do we have the guy, Steve Bell? Oh, he's via Skype. Okay, so we have Steve Bell, who is the founder of Startup Trek, Trek, and that is his Twitter account. If you want to follow him on Twitter, you will. He's going crazy. He's been going crazy for the better part of a week with me. He's on fire. He's a member of the Ketsu Forum. He threatened to sue, I think on his things, and I think he's emailing my investors and all kinds of craziness. So it's...
Before we take it, I wanted to...
wait, we have an insight from Tyler. Cue it.
I thought that you brought up the analogy of paying to play.
Right.
And there's other instances in life where guys who might have a hard go at things sometimes have to pay to play.
Pay to play, so to speak.
So to speak, which is kind of seems extra appropriate in that you're in this case, you're paying to get screwed.
Hey-oh! And in that case,
which is makes it all that more interesting of a metaphor.
It's like wheelchairs at Disneyland.
Yeah.
So can we have Steve on the line? I'm going to be nice to him. Steve, how are you?
Yes, pretty good, Jason. Thanks for having me on the show.
It is great to have you on the show. Can we turn up his volume in here so I can hear him? Oh, there we go.
You're going to get yours, though.
Oh, yeah, you got to turn that off. Hold on one second, Steve. We're doing a little bit of fix here. Hold on one second.
Okay.
Can we turn up the volume in here so I can hear him, Alex? Steve, give me a little check there. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay. Yeah, sound check.
The volume's off on this machine there. Okay. Okay, Steve.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me on the show, Jason. I'm a little disappointed I couldn't come down to Santa Monica and be in studio with you, but I hope that you'll give me a chance to talk about the Ketsu Forum from my point of view. And I've been listening to you guys carry on. You know, I'm a little surprised that a guy as prominent and as smart as you, I mean, you're the CEO of the 5th search engine behind Google, and you sold your company for $25 million. You have a great TV show, and obviously TechCrunch 50 is the hot conference, that you wouldn't do your homework a little bit before literally declaring yourself bin Laden and launching on a jihad.
Okay.
So
all right.
I want to have the opportunity just to maybe re-educate you, and maybe I can convince you to leave the Taliban.
Okay, so go ahead, infidel, pitch me. All praise Allah. Can I have my gun, please? Can somebody get me my AK-47 quickly? I will. You are now speaking with Osama bin Jason, and you have an audience with me.
Okay,
and
great.
tell me what I am missing, what the person who worked at Ketsu Forum is missing, what the person who pitched Ketsu Forum is missing, and what the angel investor is missing.
Certainly prepared to talk about all that. I'd just like to ask you to have an open mind here and listen to some of the facts, because I discovered the Ketsu Forum after 30 years in Silicon Valley last July, and they don't market themselves. It's almost completely invisible. And I consider it to be one of the best things I've encountered in Silicon Valley. Now, I want to start out, though, by pointing you to my blog, startuptrek.net. I've put 3 slides up there just a few minutes ago, and I want to emphasize that I am a member of the Ketsu Forum. Really, I'm an angel investor. And I put a slide up there, my investments this year. There's a couple others I'm looking at. I'm pretty excited about Delve Networks up in Seattle right now. Going up to see them. So I am an angel, and I utilize the services of the Ketsu Forum. So the K4 provides strong value. It's a professional organization. The angels in the Ketsu Forum have invested $200 million in 200 companies since Randy launched it back in 2000. And sure, they have committed the crime of having some meetings in Oakland, even out in Pleasanton and San Ramon. And there's thousands of startups out there. The reason that Randy started it out there, he lives in Lafayette, and the CEO of Pac-Bell, now AT&T, offered him the use of his boardroom. So they had about 25 investors, basically an investment club. There were no fees, and there were still no fees in a lot of clubs. And I really want to get into this thing about charging. But you know, they have migrated to Silicon Valley. I attend the Silicon Valley chapter in Palo Alto. It's held at Fenwick and West. Oh, actually, we just moved to Wilson-Sonsini. And I attend sometimes the San Ramon chapter, which is still at AT&T headquarters. There's also a Marin and a San Francisco chapter. So the 4 chapters in the Bay Area have about half the membership. So that's about 350 angels. And you know, a lot of the things I've heard are just factually incorrect. Like when I'm in a room in Ketsu, there's 200 people in there, and 180 of them are angel investors, because I've talked to all of them.
So let me ask you this.
I'll pause unless you ask some questions.
Yeah, sure. Let me ask you the first question here. which is how.
I really got one.
The first question is, if you are such a blown-out, rich angel investor who's made so many angel investments, why do you need to charge the companies?
Well, the thing you don't understand, and this is, I think, a fundamental logical flaw that you made, is that I agree with you. Individual angel, if they're listening to a pitch for 8 minutes, it'd be outrageous for them to charge the entrepreneur for that. So we're on the same page there. Where you made your flaw is that you don't realize that this is very similar to a $250 million hedge fund in terms of our investment footprint. And the VCs take 2% of the fund every year of the money under management, so they have a pretty healthy budget. You can do the math on 250, that's $5 million a year. And they have to do diligence, they have staff. But see, we have a very small budget, and the reason we're able to do it so efficiently is that of the 850 members, I would say, I can only speak for the Bay Area where I attend. I've been up to Seattle and Portland, great chapters, very active deal flow, but the members spend, I would say, average 25% to a third of their time working on the Ketsu. There are over 60 brick and mortar meetings a month that run half a day. And if you just do the math on, say if the average angel do a loaded salary of 200K, take 25%, so every angel is putting in 50K of energy and effort, plus making the investments. That requires money to make that happen. And if
what do you need the money for specifically? What do you need?
The angels,
because it costs $6,000. It costs $6,000 to present to the 4 forums from the paperwork we've seen. So what do you need six? I mean, the guy who was just on, who's a VC, says he hosts bagels at his place. He's happy to pay for it. No big deal. Why would a rich angel investor need to charge? Because I talked to Ron Conway. I talked to the best angels in the world. Mark Cuban told me this is BS. Ron Conway thinks it's BS. Why do the best angels in the world, the most successful ones, think that what you're doing is BS, and then you guys seem to be the only ones who think you need to charge $6,000 to present? What is the cost?
It is not, you get your facts wrong, Jason. It is not a presentation fee. It's not to present. When a Ketsu entrepreneur comes in, they're entering a 90-day process, which is, I'm going to put a diagram up on my blog. It is thousands of different activities that culminate in them being funded. So the money does not go to us, the angels. We are not paid. In fact, we pay about 90% of the cost of operating the Ketsu Forum. We provide what would be the 2% to a VC fund by paying $3,000 apiece for membership. Now that's in the Bay Area. And the way it works in other chapters, the chapters are launched without an annual fee to the members or any fees to the entrepreneurs. So a lot of them are free still. As they reach critical mass, they're able to expand. But the K4 is a business. It is a professional service business. It's like a $250 million VC fund with 850 LPs to keep happy. And it's very much a full-time operation. Where do you think we're going to pay their 50 employees if we don't have some kind of cash flow? And 90% plus of it comes from us. I wrote a check for $3,000 for this year. And, it's one of the best checks I've written, because to find the deal flow and have all these meetings set up, and I'll show you from when you file an application, 90% of the startups that apply, we get 50 to 100 a month coming in to try to present to us angels, never pay a nickel. It's, say you get 100 in a month applying in the Bay Area. We do a lot of diligence up front. The staff are involved. There's all kinds of checking and calls and conference calls. We get it down to 10 that look pretty good. And then the meeting that the bidder ex-employee, Mr. Pink, talked about is called deal screening. People like myself, who a lot of them are $500,000 CEOs, take a half a day to go out and sit in a room, and it is grueling. By the time I leave those at 3 p.m., I'm exhausted. But we go through the pitch, and what's different about us, we're totally transparent. So when, say you come in to pitch the next Mahalo, obviously you can pick up the phone and call Douglas, you don't need to pitch us, but we're not seeing the rock stars like you. We're seeing people that would never be funded otherwise. And they're mostly profitable businesses that are growing that need money to expand. But we have you in, you pitch us, and then we ask you questions, you leave the room, and then we really have it out about you. In a venture capital situation, you would never know what happened. But we actually audio record all the recordings of the angels, and then we transcribe it, take out the person's names, and give it to the entrepreneur. So during this process, their pitch is improving, and they know their weak points. And by the time they get through deal screening, they've got a whole bunch of us helping them with their presentation, doing dry runs. A week later, they go into the full meeting, and they're pitching their brains out for 3 days. They have to spend 4 hours in the meeting, and follow up and come back into the room, get the feedback. So it's an immensely intensive 90-day venture acceleration process. It's not a presentation.
So it's a venture acceleration process, you say?
That's correct.
Okay.
That's correct. Much more than just the pitch. That's just a little tiny snapshot of how we've helped them. And, I've pitched Douglas at Sequoia and, Roger Evans at Greylock. And a lot of us have raised venture capital many times, and we know where they're screwing up, and we really help them.
Let's get to the meat and potatoes here. Let me ask you a question, meat and potatoes. Because I don't buy the it cost a lot of money thing. I think somebody here is making millions of dollars a year off this. I think somebody is charging, if they get 500 people, angels, for $3,000 a pop, maybe 600, they're making $2 million. I think they probably got, I don't know, a couple of dozen people paying $5,000, $6,000, $3,000 to do the actual presentation. It sounds to me like there's $4 or $5 million going into somebody's pocket. Maybe he's got $1 million in expense or something. So I think I got to follow the money and figure out where it's going. I know I can do this for free or for very cheap. And so let me ask you this, since we obviously are going to disagree. What is the story with the lawsuit? Are you suing me? Are you threatening to sue me? What exactly is you thinking there? Because I know you emailed Michael Moritz and you emailed all the brass at Sequoia, and now you're making phone calls. What exactly is going on? Are you going to sue me or not? Because I would like to see these papers.
I know you want to be sued, and you're kind of a troll on that, but I'm not going to take the bait. Actually, Jason, you've deeply offended, and hurt Randy Williams, our founder, who's an exemplary leader, a very successful guy that we look to as a role model. But more than that, you've really deeply insulted 850 really great angel investors. And this whole thing about bin Laden, you might find it funny, but I have family members in Iraq and Afghanistan risking their neck every day.
Oh, stop with that nonsense. Stop with that nonsense, okay? Listen, stop with the nonsense. My brother's a firefighter, okay? I know plenty of people. It's a joke. Let's stay focused on the actual issue here.
Okay, so
you're telling me you did not email the brass at Sequoia, and you didn't tell that you didn't email them?
Here's what I did. I've known Douglas Leon for 25 years.
Okay.
I called him up and I said, "What's the deal with this Mahalo guy? We want to go down and see him," and he just makes fun of me like it's some kind of joke. We're offering to fly down there and meet with him and talk to him, and he blew us off several times. And, you invited me into your studio to do this face-to-face, and then you called me yesterday and put me in a Skype box. I wanted to do this where you can see the whites in my eyes, because you are wrong. You have made a mistake here, and you do not know what you're talking about when it comes to the Ketsu Forum. And I'm going to interview a Ketsu-funded entrepreneur once a day for the next 14 days and publish it on my blog, and get the facts out over the next few months, because this is really an outrage. You do not know the first thing about the Ketsu Forum.
Okay.
And I've got lots of details to back that up.
Okay.
And I did call Douglas. Now, to answer your question about the suing.
Yeah.
I talked to a good friend of mine who's one of the greatest legal minds in Silicon Valley. He's the founder of the most prestigious law firm. And he educated me last weekend about libel and slander for a few hours. And it's most egregious when it's conducted for material benefit. And I believe that Demo.com and Ketsu are your competitors. And I'd like to call your attention to the slide on my blog, Demo Pit at TechCrunch 50. Now, you say it's free.
Yes.
Okay, the table's free. But the seats at the table cost $1,500 per employee.
Yeah, we offer people half-price tickets.
Let me finish.
Yeah.
Half price, but it's $1,500. One company paid $1,500 fees to pitch investors.
They didn't pay to pitch investors. They paid to come to an event. They didn't pay to. There's no pitching of an investor there. They paid to come to an event like any other event, like Wall Street D conference, which is $4,500, like the Web 2.0 conference, which is $4,500. My conference is the cheapest of all of those, and they're just they're not paying to pitch. They're paying to come to an event.
I'm going to get the early bird fee. I know it's great. I have friends that go, but here's the thing. They are pitching investors. They're talking about their product, but it's mostly VCs. You're charging them a lot of money. You're saying you have expenses, but you fail to recognize so does the Ketsu. But you're creating a lot of value for the startups, and so you have to charge for it. That's simply what the Ketsu does.
Let me tell you how this is going to go, okay? Because I know you think I know you think you're a tough guy, but I'm going to tell you what a tough guy knows, okay? Here's what's going to happen.
Sounds like spin.
Here's what's going to happen. Number one, you might be a good guy. Randy might be a good guy. I am giving you an ultimatum right now. I want these fees to entrepreneurs dropped immediately. 100%.
We're not going to do it with a gun to our head.
Oh, you're
know,
going to
we
do
might
it.
Consider our business model
You will
someday
do it.
as angels, but it's not up to me. I am not part of the
I'm telling you right now how this is going to go down, and you're going to listen to me. You are going to get rid of these fees, or Jason and the nation are coming for you, and we are going to run competitive events for free with real investors, and no startup CEO in their right mind is going to pay you guys a nickel. You drop the fees.
You don't even understand the basics of angel groups. You haven't studied the law. You know, do you know what an accredited investor is? Where
Yes,
are
I
you going to get 250 accredited investors? Do you know the law about pitching a private opportunity to more than 35 people? It's actually much lower in California. So where are you going to get the accredited investors to fund these startups?
Oh, don't worry. Hey, you think my Rolodex will roll over you? You have no idea. I am going to come down on you like lightning from the sky, okay? There will be an event that will be free, and I am going to decimate any paid event. And that includes your event.
Yeah, right. I'm scared. Hey, on the lawsuit, the reason I called my old friend Douglas Leone, I said, what is wrong with this guy? Is he off his rocker? He doesn't know what he's talking about.
Yes, of course I'm off my rocker. Did you Google my name?
Yeah,
Google my name. Put Calican is crazy. You guys have 8 million documents. You don't need to email my investors to get that information.
Jason, I just think you went off the deep end on this topic and you're on the wrong side of the issue. The lawsuit, though, you have deeply antagonized 850 angel investors, and they are not fat cats. They are middle-class people like myself. You're the rich guy.
I'm the how are you an angel investor if you're a middle-class guy? You just blew it. You can't be a middle-class guy and invest in companies like this, because then you're not an accredited investor. You have to have over $1 million, correct or not correct?
No, you don't. Accredited investor has to prove they've made $200K on their tax return the last 2 years. That's all. They can also have $1 million net worth, and they have plenty of money to write $25,000 checks to startups. And the Ketsu Forum is full of really great people that have been successful, not just financially, but they're the funnest people in the world to spend half a day with once a month.
Well, here's my message.
On the lawsuit, I want to say this, because you asked me the question. I want to finish answering it.
Yeah. What are you going to sue me for?
Because it amazes me that you can libel and slander.
What did I say that's libel? Give me what did I say?
Slide on my site that defines libel. It's like exactly what you're doing, and you're doing it.
Give me what did I say that's libel? What did I say that's untrue? I'm giving you what your own customers are saying. I put your own customers on the show.
All the stuff you're saying, we're not really angel investors, mostly service providers in the room, charging for 8-minute presentations.
I didn't say that. That's what people are telling me who went to your event, that it was mostly service providers. Okay?
I'll go back and put a blog post about all this stuff, all your libel and slander. And the thing is, I can't control 850 fellow angels. Only about 50 of them know about this even exists right now. And I don't know what will happen. I don't think they made their minds up.
You don't know what's going to happen.
I can't read their minds.
All right.
I'm just telling, I tried to get Douglas to influence you to either see us or to learn the facts, because all the stuff you're saying is not true. And Mr. Pink, if you had the guts to come out and say who you are, and I'm sure we know who you are now because your voice is recognizable, stand up, identify yourself, and let's find out. Maybe you're in a bad chapter. I know you're bitter, but let's really look at the facts, because this is going to get visibility in the press over the next 6 months.
It's going to get it next week.
He said it's incorrect.
All right.
Good. It'll be great for the Ketsu Forum. You're going to just pack us with new firms. And I encourage you to start that new angel group that's free. Maybe you'll learn a thing or two.
Okay. I am looking forward to learning a thing or two, because you're such a genius. And I am also
it's not
learning.
Rocket science. Not rocket surgery here. It's simple business facts.
Right. Okay. All right. So here's how I will tell you it's going to go down. You can disagree with me, and we can just listen for a moment, if you will. This is how it will go down. I am going to get the Jason Nation, and there are a lot of them. And you may think I'm crazy, you may be right. I think I'm crazy.
No,
everybody thinks I'm crazy.
You. That's why I'm trying to influence them here.
Here's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
I am going to demand, this is my demands, and you're going to listen to them. Demand number 1, stop charging. And demand number 2, you're going to put a note on your site that says, we've considered the fees, and we think that it's reasonable to either lower them to something minimal like $100, or get rid of them. Now, if you don't do this, let me finish. If you don't do it in the next 30 days, if you don't do it in the next 30 days, I'm giving you 30 days.
Oh, right.
It's not about competition. I'm doing this as a non-profit. Non-profit. In 30 days, if you do not do what I am telling you to do, then we are going to have competitive events that are going to occur right after your event. So when your event ends at 11 o'clock, flyers will be given out at your event by the Jason Nation, by different members of the community, and as close as possible to your event, perhaps even in the same venue. 11:30 will start the free Angel Network. And we'll see
I don't
which
really
one
think you
entrepreneurs pick, free or paid. All praise Allah. That's it, I'm done. Goodbye. Enough.
I've got a lot more material.
You got nothing. That's it. Unbelievable on this guy. Everybody who's in the room, tell me, in the room, scale of 1 to 10. I don't even want to say it, but you guys tell me in this room if what you heard, do you think what you heard was BS or not? Because I know when I'm getting BS'd. Well, you felt like you were getting BS?
That was grade A BS.
That was grade A, Wagyu, Kobe level BS. I have never heard BS like that. That was all BS all the time. I am infuriated. It was so disrespectful to come on this show and then tell the 500 people in the room and the 25,000 people who are going to watch this, oh, we don't charge fees. Oh, everybody else is wrong. Everybody but him is wrong. Let me tell you something. I believe, actually, that they are nice people. I believe there's some nice people in this organization. And this is my message. This is a message to Ketsu Forum Angels and Randy. What's his name? Randy Williams? Is that the guy on American Idol? What's the guy who runs Ketsu Forum? Randy what?
Randy Jackson's on Idol.
Randy Jackson's on Idol? The guy from Ketsu Forum also is on American Idol? All right. Anyway, somebody's got to cut the video starting right here. Message to Randy and Ketsu Forum. I'm sure you guys have good intent. I know you've had a wonderful business over the years. However, times change, things change. The model can change. I'm asking you. I'm on bended knee. I'm bending down on one knee right now. Please, Ketsu Forum, please. You have Jason on his knees begging you on behalf of entrepreneurs. I am begging you, Ketsu Forum and Randy. Please drop the fees. Please. I'm begging, please. I'm begging you and your middle class angel investors, lower middle class in some cases, to please drop the fees. Now, continuing my message, if you do not drop the fees, we're coming. And what we're going to do is we're going to test free market economics. We're going to launch on the same day as yours a nonprofit open angel forum. A nonprofit where people can freely present and entrepreneurs can be free of fees. And if you are so sure that you've got the right model, then you keep charging. And let's see where it is after 6 months, because I will bet you my Tesla. I will put my Tesla on it that I will win. And I will come and I will decimate your business model. You think I'm crazy? You go check Engadget statistics versus some other consumer electronics websites, or check auto blogs. I throw down, okay? You should not be playing with me because I know how to build a business. I know how to build a brand, okay? I'm not some schmuck who's going to fall for $1,500 for 15 minutes or $6,000. I'm coming, and I'm bringing a lot of people with me. And we're going to create a competitive event that's a nonprofit, and you're going down. Unless you drop the fees. If you drop the fees, I'm going to give you all the credit in the world. I am going to write a blog post. I love Ketsu Forum. I'm going to tweet every day about Ketsu Forum. I'm going to do a public service announcement about how much I love Ketsu Forum. I am going to be I'm going to be a Ketsu Forum member. If you drop the fees, I will give you $3,000 to become a member, and I will host the LA chapter forum. How about that? How about them apples? But you won't do it, will you? You want to still make that money off the entrepreneurs. Let's see. I'm going to give you a chance. 30 days. What's today's date?
16th. October
Today's the 16th. November 16th. November 16th if these fees are not dropped.
And
Open Angel
sign on the
Forum.
website.
On the website, I want a public declaration. We're not charging on the top level. I don't want it buried. If not, it starts. Open Angel Forum, nonprofit run by entrepreneurs and angel investors for entrepreneur and angel investors. No middlemen. What do you think, Tyler?
I think you already have some good angels who want to participate.
Oh, yeah, like I don't know any angels.
I'm wondering where you're going to...
Where on earth am I going to find angel investors?
Oh, my God.
Unbelievable.
I mean, it's not rocket surgery.
It's just ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Do we have another call in? All right, we're gonna have a final call in because you know what? As much as let me ask the audience this, because they're going crazy in the chat room. It's insane. I want to ask the audience in the chat room: how many people think Ketsu Forum should drop their fees? Should Ketsu Forum drop their fees? Yes or no? And just put that in the chat room. And if you want to say on your Twitter stream, I think at Jason is right, Ketsu Forum should drop their fees by November 16th, you can feel free to tweet that. That's not libel, is it? It's not slander. You having an opinion. Everybody's like, yes, drop it. Drop it like it's hot. Drop the fees. Drop that, beep. Drop them like beep. Drop it like it's hot. Drop, yes. Anyway, they're saying now also that all this PR is going to be great for them. This will be in the Wall Street Journal. The New York Times,
it's going to be awesome for them.
It's going to be awesome for them if they drop the fees. All right. Scott Simcoe says, yes. Here we go. We got another call in here. I don't know if I'm supposed to say this person's name. All right. Here we go. Speaker. All right. Getting a little echo. Why am I making an echo? Oh, there we go. Okay.
They have their own. They're listening on
Oh,
the
are you
show.
listening on your side? Turn off your sound if you would. Okay. Maybe it's in the studio. You guys dropped the call yet? Because I'm getting a little reverb.
Oh.
Hello, are you on the line?
Yeah, I am.
Okay.
Hey, Jason.
How are you doing? What do you think of that last segment?
I think the segment's pretty good. I mean, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm CEO of a company called MediaMorph. Name is Mike Sid. And, I actually can't hear you.
Oh, okay. Well, we're not talking, so we got everything so far. You said you're an entrepreneur. Your name is Mike, and you were solicited by one of these angel forums?
Yeah, no, I've been pitched by Mike Siegel. I've been pitched by Ketsu. So I've gotten all their pitches. I've actually gone to Mike Siegel's event. I haven't presented there.
Right.
But it's and so I've seen what it's like.
So tell us what it's like, because there was a big. Our last guy, Steve Bell, is saying it isn't all service providers; it's majority angels. We heard from before from other people who've been to it who say if it's 20% in actual accredited investors, that would be high. So now we see two sides of the story. Maybe you can be the tiebreaker. What percentage of people do you think are actual investors at these things?
Okay, I've never been to the Ketsu Forum event,
Okay.
but I've been to Mike Siegel's event, and
Right.
I've been to plenty of other events.
Okay.
So it really depends. So Mike Siegel's event, it was would say it's a very large event. Hey, you've been to the Yale Club, right?
Yeah, of course I've been to Yale Club.
To the big ballroom there.
Yep.
So it fits probably, it was probably like 1,000 people, right?
Wow.
And so there were a goodly number of folks there. I would say at least 30 to 40% were some form of investment professional. Now, that doesn't seem to say that they're angel investors, that they're people that actually invest in a startup company. By and large, they were investment banker types, they were private equity types, and it seems like they were there more than anything else to network with each other. It's not. I did not find. I've been to a lot of these events in New York City, so there's a certain crew of actual VC investors in New York City. The DFJ Gotham.
Yeah, sure.
All those guys.
Fred Wilson.
Lou Gersh. Yeah. David Hirsch. All those guys.
Yeah.
Right. They weren't there. None of those guys was there. So there were a couple of other hangers-ons and service providers that I recognized. Good people. I mean, it's their job, it's their business. But but the main VCs in New York weren't there. I mean, I probably talked to probably about 50 or 100 people because there's a lot of people to talk to. But and there was probably I think only had one VC meeting come out of it, and it was actually a VC that was closing down its fund.
All right, so you're basically saying there's not good people at the Mike Siegel's event.
I think the event is but you got to look at the companies that were actually presenting, and here's the interesting thing. So there were a lot of companies presenting. I would guess it was probably like around. I mean, it's too many. It was probably around 50 companies. So they all tended to kind of blur after a while. So I think you had a question about what types of companies are these? Who would actually cough up the $10,000 or $25,000 to actually present at these events?
Yeah.
So I actually happened to dig up the materials I got from the event.
Oh.
And I have it right in front of me, actually.
Okay, tell us.
So it is, some of these companies, are like legitimate, startups, the ones that, that would normally there. But a lot of them were like, I'm looking at one right here, Atlantis Health Systems. They're already an $80 million company. They're looking for a huge private equity investment. So it's not really a startup per se, It's private equity. And then a lot of these other companies, they're either in similar shapes or they're in things that are not, typical VC sort of investments. They're not in the typical kind of either IT, biotech, or clean tech kind of areas.
Right.
So that's kind of what I observed. I mean, the event itself, it was mostly. I don't think the attention that was being paid to the folks that are on stage. I mean, I really felt sorry for those guys who paid, $10,000 or $20,000, because most of the hubbub was going on was just the people around the event networking for themselves. And
Right.
I think for those people, yeah, I mean, the attendees, that was good. And actually, I went as sort of the guest of one of the companies, which is a small investment bank, friends of mine. And they paid $275 for the entire company to attend. So actually, 4 of us came.
Wow.
So, and it was good for them. They're talking about other deals
So
and
tell me
deal
this.
flow and all that. So
What is your
it's good for them.
advice to startup companies? Should they participate in Ketsu Forum? Should they participate in Mike Siegel's forum? What is your advice?
I think that if you are I didn't.
Right.
So I had the opportunity to participate in both of them, and I
So
did
that
not.
speaks volumes. You would not.
Yeah, obviously, it's the choice of a company. I guess in some ways, if you're going to Mike Siegel's forum and you're really looking to, you've got a land deal or you really need a private equity money and you need $50 million or $100 million, perhaps you'll run into the right person. But if you're doing sort of a typical startup like I am, and you need, $500,000 or $2 million, it doesn't seem like the Mike Siegel forum was there. I did not personally go to the Ketsu forum, so I can't speak to that.
Right.
But I've been to plenty of other events. For example, I was just actually. You contrast this to, I was at this event, a small event in Silicon Valley, Open, the organization of Pakistani entrepreneurs, and they have something called Entrepreneur Idol, and this is about 3 months ago. So there were about 12 companies presenting. It was actually free. They waived the attendee fee for the entrepreneurs, and they had great people judging. So they had Howard Hartenbaum of August Capital was one of the judges. So real VCs doing the judging, and and they offered a cash prize to the winner. $2,500. So I won, so it was good.
Yeah, that's always good. All right.
But they had great speakers. They had Tom Campbell, who was running for governor, and he was talking. That's kind of an event that's for entrepreneurs.
All right, we're 2 hours into the show. It's insane. Thank you for calling in, and
Sure.
We'll talk to you soon. Take care.
Take care.
All right. I think this is hour 40. We're an hour 40 in. Is that correct? Can we bring in Lon, and we'll just do a quick wrap up here, maybe one news story, because I feel bad that Lon did the news, and then I gotta have Lon in here.
This was worth passing up the news.
Well, bring your news. You can bring it in. We could do one news story.
I thought it was in here already.
Oh, no.
Alex, the news?
Hold on a second. With the news in here, you got the news paperwork.
What's the number one story you have? Twitter lists was one of them. Just do one. Okay. We're gonna forego that. We're gonna just do it from my memory.
Oh, we're gonna do it from memory. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, you only wanted 1 or 2 stories.
1 or 2 stories is fine from the news.
This was newsworthy enough.
What's your take on? You were listening to the show, I take it.
Of course.
And what do you think? What's your take on this? You heard Steve Bell, who is a middle class angel investor or something.
Yeah, I don't know how that works. I want to be an angel investor.
You can be an angel
I'm
investor.
going to be a lower middle class angel investor.
I think there should be a new class of angel investor. People who are able to put in like $42 or something to start out.
Like a Walmart greeter by day, and then
angel investor at
by
night. Perfect.
Yeah, that would work.
When you heard that guy talking and trying to defend it, I know you're completely unbiased in this, but
totally.
What are your thoughts?
It reminds me of, there's a lot, I'm sort of newer to the tech industry, but I have seen these exact kinds of scams in all sorts of other industries, modeling, screenwriting. There's always the you don't know all the people involved, so we're gonna help. You're gonna pay us $5,000, and we're gonna help you get all your materials prepared, and we're gonna tutor you, and we're gonna shepherd you through the process. You're not paying to pitch. You're paying for our expertise to sort of coach you along.
Yes.
And it's always the same idea. You pay, and then you sort of get, if you're a model, you get headshots, or if you're a screenwriter, you get, useless notes from 50-year-old housewives who don't really work in the entertainment industry, and on and on. And then you maybe pitch 2 or 3 people, and they, give you a couple notes and send you on your way, and that's it. So, I mean, it sounds identical to those sorts of deals. And
Right.
the fact that he can't really pinpoint, like, well, here's exactly what you get. You pay us this money, and then we give you X,
Right,
Y,
he's
Z.
like, it's a whole venture preparedness.
Right, it was...
Like, what does that mean? Like, was that what the word he used? Venture preparedness or
acceleration,
something?
venture acceleration.
Whenever somebody uses
system.
words that, like, acceleration venture system, or that sounds like a late-night commercial.
Right, and
you know, like, this is my real estate program or system. I'm not selling a system. What system do I have? If anybody should have a system, it should be me.
Yeah.
You should
Where's your
use
accelerated
my system. I will accelerate your startup. $1,500 for
Right,
the first day and $15,000 for the next 5. System.
So yeah, that's when it was so vague, and every time you would ask him, like, well, what are you, why
Right,
all this money? What do you need all this
TechCrunch
money?
50 demo pit.
Well, we have 100 people working for us, and they're going to do all of this stuff, and it's like, well, what? Why would I pay you all this money, and what stuff would I actually get out of it? It would be better for me to have than just have that money.
It's amazing. 100% of people feel it's a scam in the chat room.
Yeah,
I'm
hanging out
being
in the
very
chat room,
clear here
it was-
now in terms of libel law. I have not said this is a scam. I may suspect it's a scam. I may suspect that this is MLM. I may suspect that somebody's getting rich off this who shouldn't. However, I don't know that for a fact, but I'm gathering evidence, and the evidence is gathering and gathering. And is somebody watching the TriCaster at all? Anybody?
I mean,
talking for 5 minutes. Lon is agreeing.
I'm a good-looking guy.
He's a
They
good-looking
haven't gotten
guy.
to
If
see
somebody
me.
was operating the TriCaster, they would know that I
They
was
haven't gotten
speaking
their-
and
they
maybe
haven't gotten their
put the
fill.
camera on me. Is that possible?
There we go.
Is anybody working the TriCaster? Come on, guys.
I was doing it back there. I can't
Anyway, were you really?
No.
Oh.
I was.
So anyway, I went on Twitter and I looked at Twitter, and I'm looking at my search right here, and oh boy, people are really going off, and they're saying that they think they should drop their fees. Some people are saying that they suspect this is a scam. I think that's a nice way to phrase it, that you suspect it, because maybe you'll get some more information. Wow, people are saying this is a hot show, and people are saying that at Startup Trek is full of SH whatever, and that he doesn't make any sense, and he can't give clear answers.
He was still talking, by the way. He didn't realize that we had...
But what am I supposed to do? I mean, he's repeating himself over and over again. I mean, I'd love to have the guy on for the entire show, but I mean, how many times is he going to bring up the demo pit? It's like, oh, like how many, and what does an event buying it, I don't begrudge them selling tickets to their event. Sure, sell tickets to their event. I might buy a ticket. I like going to an event. Charge all you want. Maybe when we do the open Angel Forum, we'll charge for, VCs to come to the event. Maybe. Maybe we'll charge entrepreneurs to come to the event. Maybe there'll be a $100 charge, $50 charge. Something you put on your card that you don't have to worry about. But that had nothing to do with charging $6,000 to present to 4 groups. And he keeps saying, well, that's not the charge. But then they say it is $1,500 and you have to do all 4. And then all the letters I get from people forwarding say for the San Francisco, you have to do all 4 groups for $1,500 each, just $6,000.
Well, that's what he was saying. It's like, oh, but you're not charging to pitch. You're charging for the whole
Oh,
sum. That was
yes.
the point he was making, is the whole course that you'll go through before, and then you'll pitch.
Jesus.
And it ends, apparently, in you getting funded.
Okay, guys, based on what you have seen, what do you think is going to happen in 30 days?
Knowing you?
What's going to happen in 30 I'm asking the audience, in the chat room, people, what do you think is going to happen in 30 days? What do you think is going to is it going to be lightning is going to rain down upon you?
I hope he's got an umbrella.
Yeah. I would not want to take you on. And
People say no fees will be dropped. Do you guys think that there's any chance that they'll drop fees if we start the Open Angel Forum?
I think if he starts speaking to people who know you, they'll drop the fees very quickly.
If somebody gives them an idea that this is not a joke. It is a joke.
Once they start interacting with people who are really involved in Silicon Valley, I think they will kind of wisen up.
I just want to say, if I've hurt anybody's feelings during all of this, if I said something that was over the line, or if maybe I said it in too harsh a way, I don't give a shit. Okay? I really don't. You can bleep that. 2 hours, 54 minutes in. I don't care. Okay? You're taking advantage of people. I don't care about your feelings. I don't care if I hurt your feelings. I don't care about your family's feelings. I don't care about 850 people I'm alienating. I don't care. Get it through your head. I don't care if you call my VCs every day. I don't care if you put a protest outside of Mahalo. I don't care. I think I'm right. Okay? And the audience thinks I'm right. The only people who think I'm wrong are the people charging the fees. So I will continue on. Tell us what's in the news.
Well, the first thing we were going to bring up was there is a new Deadpool company this week. I know we stopped. We don't have the Deadpool here.
No, the dogs ate the Deadpool, but we can do a Deadpool. We'll do a little Deadpool.
Storyteller, the word story and then TLR. It lets you feed in. You could feed in tweets. You could feed in images from your Flickr. You could feed in YouTube videos and sort of arrange them into a narrative. So you could put like text and sort of narrate your whole day or something you did or some project you're
like a live
on.
stream.
Like exactly like a live stream. Yeah, it sort of reminded me of like what Whirl does, where they let you sort of write these narratives.
Or
and
what the non-society girls were doing. Like they were like, this is my live stream, here's my tweets, here's my video. Non-society did a similar thing.
Yeah, and it lets you sort of organize it more in terms of a narrative than just people looking at what you're doing on disparate systems. So they're giving people until the end of this year they will download all of your files as a zip, and then they are going out of business. The founder said they just didn't have the time to keep it going anymore, and they couldn't find a partner.
You know, they're onto something here because people do this thing called scrapbooking.
Yes.
And that is very popular. And here you see night hike on the countryside as a photo. And then next, I guess, I hit the Flickr photos and a tweet.
Yeah, and you can see tweets, and there's Flickr
images. It's kind of a nice, here, look, pull up my screen if you don't mind for a second, and you'll see they've mashed up the tweets. I guess these would be the Flickr photos coming in and videos from Blip. It is kind of a nice, because it's got the timestamps, it could be a nice experience to go through these.
Yeah, I actually checked out a few, and
not
it is
a bad idea.
Interesting.
Yeah, there's something there in weaving together a story based on these things. If this can be done automatically, then it's all the better. I mean, in some ways, this is your news feed.
Yeah, this would be like, I mean, you could even say following someone on Friend Feed or something would be a similar, you're just seeing things as
similar experience, right.
This just gives you the power to organize it as you want.
I think that this is better as a feature or an application inside Facebook. Like if I could be in Facebook, and I could be going down my stream and all my friends' stream and say, add to wedding story, add to Tyler brunch story, add to lawn bowling story, boom, and I can just click and I can add these different assets to a thing, and other people could add them. This would work great as a Facebook application or as a toolbar or something. I give these guys credit for trying. I always give credit to the guys who try to do something innovative with storytelling online and new ways to present information, because gosh knows we need it. And you know, they fought the good fight, so there's no, I mean, this isn't a Jimmy Fallon kind of situation where the person was shooting off their mouth saying, I'm going to kill Google, and then gave up 12 months later.
No. And this was I think this was probably a pretty small project they were just working on, and they just sort of didn't have the time to keep it going.
Yeah, it's great. Boy, had an interesting interchange with Jimmy Wales on my email.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like it's just, something came up in some story, and I just said, listen, Jimmy Wales is a fraud or something. I just don't buy it, you know, because Larry Sanger created Wikipedia, and somebody did a whole story on it. Jimmy Wales is like, sends me all these emails, and I just wrote back to him. I said, listen, you can fool the rest of the world. I know you're a fraud. And I just sent it. I was just in one of those moods where you know, like somebody pisses you off enough that you're just like, you know, I know when somebody's a fraud, you know? And maybe it's a Brooklyn thing, but I just can't, when I feel like somebody's a fraud or it's BS or whatever, it's hard to let go for me.
That's why we have the AK sitting around for those exact those exact.
And then he's like bringing up the 9/11, Afghanistan. Listen,
that was definitely when the conversation took a turn.
Yes, it got very personal.
Iraq stuff came up.
It's like, you know, one of my best friends is over there who I went to high school with, who's a black belt in karate, who I got my black belt with and everything. You know, he's been over there for 3 tours. You know, my brother's a firefighter. My 2 cousins are police officers. Like, I had plenty of people in the service. So I'm not making a joke about going to war. That doesn't mean I'm disregarding or, you know, insulting people who are at war. I mean, give me a break. This is a diversionary technique.
It was, sort of a little bit.
Also, trying to make it kind of. Does anybody understand? It's called This Week in Startups. It's a show. It's supposed to be funny at times, you know?
This was an extremely compelling episode. I watch all of them out there.
Yeah.
This one was very entertaining.
I mean, but just lighten up, okay? And now he's like, look, he's shooting off. He refused to let me make even 20% of my points. Invited me to face-to-face and check it out.
That was less than 20% of his points?
Still licking, he says, I'm still licking his wounds. I mean, this guy might be delusional.
I just can't imagine how there was 80% left to go.
I mean, he couldn't even describe what he was doing. Anyway.
Yeah, wow.
So
make it a 5-parter.
What else is in the news? What else is going on?
Twitter lists, obviously, was a big story.
I have Twitter lists.
I haven't been invited yet, but some high-end Twitter users, the elite.
Well, what's cool about it is you can pull up my screen here. I made a bunch of lists over here that you can see. Social media people, venture capitalists. But the good news is I can actually just subscribe to like TechCrunch's list here. So they have a team list. So I don't actually have to make that list. I can just go to it, I guess, if I click it. Is that how it works? Yeah. Oh, yeah,
think
it's
you're-
loading it.
Yeah,
It's loading
coming
it.
up.
So now I don't have to go organize that list. So if somebody wants to make the TechCrunch 50 list, whatever, and I don't have to go look at these, and I can go view the list page, and they're going to make an actual twitter.com/TechCrunch-team. So this is going to create zillions of pages inside of Twitter. It's going to make their SEO go crazy because you're going to type in TechCrunch team or Mahalo staff. It's going to be the #1 result. Or Knicks players. It'll be all the Knicks players.
Right.
So they've got 17 people on this list, and it's got 100. There's 100 people following this list, I guess, already. So the list is sort of like a user. It's pretty cool because I didn't know all the people who are on TechCrunch. They're going to be changing their staff, so I can just go in here and be like,
Check
boom.
out who's on there.
Yeah. So.
But do you think Twitter should be innovating more? I mean, obviously they have to spend so much time just keeping it sort of afloat.
Yeah.
But I mean, this shows how exciting it can be when they really add a great feature. Everybody kind of goes nuts and wants to check it out.
I think that there's something to be said for, and I respect this with Evan Williams and Steve Jobs, that they slowly roll out features when there's pent-up demand. Like, only Steve Jobs could get 10 stories about cut and paste coming to the iPhone. Like, really? Cut and paste? Been on a BlackBerry for 10 years. You add it to an iPhone, it's actually a story. So, I mean, lists, there's been, for 2 years, there's been third-party list makers for Twitter. Took them 2 years to get this feature out. So, yeah, I think they should be launching things quicker, but, you know, it's working for them, so who am I to judge? I always wonder about that. Do you launch things too quickly?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the interesting question here is, I mean, everybody obviously likes it when there is a big new feature, but maybe the waiting makes us more excited when something cool does happen. And cut and paste, you could say the same way. It's that it took so long to get there.
That's right.
There's a bigger payoff when it arrives.
Exactly. What do you think, Tyler?
I like the lists feature. I was one of the lucky ones. That elite
I don't
users,
know what
as you
I did
say. I
wrong.
don't know how that happened, but if you look at, it's another metric where users can now be judged because now it shows how many people are following you and how many lists you're on.
Right.
So I think the new thing is going to be not how many people are following you, which is great, but you can kind of cheat that as how many lists are you on? How many how many people are taking the time to put you in one of their lists?
Right.
So it's kind of a new metric which people will be judged by.
Will there just be bogus lists then?
Well, maybe,
people
but it's
set up?
another metric for judging authenticity, authority, and all that. So.
Yeah, that's going to be that's going to be a big deal because the lists are going to get popular. And who's on whose list? So if Scoble does top CEOs, people are going to be lobbying him.
Yeah.
And how many lists are you on?
Right.
It definitely adds a layer of clickiness to it that isn't there.
But I can click on your name and see what lists you're on.
Right.
How many people have made lists for you?
Right.
Which is
it's
telling
another
indicator.
it's a really interesting idea.
You can see the adjectives, based on what list they
it's
put
a
you
good
in.
insight because now it's like they'll know who that person is. Like if you're on 10 lists about NBA, basketball, Knicks, but also journalists and bloggers, like okay, that's a sports writer. But if you're on professional athletes, Knicks, NBA, basketball, it's like okay, that's a player. Or if you're on NBA players, so they're going to be able to create a tag cloud about you from this information.
Right.
Yeah, definitely.
It's pretty interesting. Anything else?
I was going to talk a little about the new Technorati. Technorati, they've closed their D round of funding. They got some extra funding, and they've totally revamped their front page again. Now you can post things directly to Technorati. That's one of the
I'll
big
tell you the
differences.
problem with Technorati. Blogs were unique and important at one point in time. Now blogs are accepted. They're like oxygen. They're part of they're part of life. Therefore, there's no need to have a dedicated site for blogs because the entire internet is dedicated to blogs. There's no difference now between blogs and mainstream media. They compete for the same stories. There isn't that fine line. So having a site that aggregates blogs doesn't make any sense anymore.
Well, really, I think Technorati made sense when Google didn't really index all those blogs.
No, of course,
and now
right.
that Google and Google blog search is everybody's blog is on there, do you really need, like this specialty blog search site?
They got to shut it down. There's no value there.
There's no saving Technorati?
I don't think there's any value there, to be honest. I mean, when's the last time you visited it? Why would you visit it?
I haven't been to Technorati in a long time.
It's crazy because I remember 4 years ago, you go to a conference and just like you look now and you see Facebook and Twitter's on everybody's page, now you go, back then you would go and be Technorati, everybody's searching for their name to see who's blogging about them.
Talking about them,
yeah. All right, anything else?
I had a few other stories I'm trying to remember now. There was definitely Dropbox used to be getdropbox.com, and then they finally got Dropbox.com. They got the get off of there.
Yeah.
How important is that?
Well, we had that on the show recently when we were riffing on Aardvark, having Vark, not
Vark,
Aardvark.
right.
And actually somebody, Domain Noob, who's in the chat room right now, I know OB, I think Domain Noob did a blog post about it. And Scott Simcoe is doing an amazing job, I got to tell you, of Look at this now. He's doing a thing about
Oh,
Ketsu
Scott
Forum.
Simcoe, the twist recap.
Yeah, twist recap guy is doing like each of the Ask Jasons into segments.
brilliant.
And here we have the Twist Angel Showdown. Things got interesting. Wow. So anyway, this guy from Domain Noob, I guess, had a post about it, about what I was saying. Name your company the same as your domain name. Here it is. But Scott Simcoe tearing it up with actually writing like a concise Ask Jason or Shark Tank with links and stuff like that. So Scott Simcoe is really a big part of the show at this point. Does a really good job. And I'm going to need a lot of help with this if we do this Open Angel Forum, which I really don't want to take on another project right now. So it's going to have to be a nonprofit thing or something where it's organized. I don't know how we do it, but I can't be like, I'm busy. But I'm willing to do it if we get a couple of people in each area to become like the steering committee or something. So maybe 2 VC / maybe 2 angel investors, 2 VCs, 2 service providers, and 2 seasoned CEOs, let's say. Make a team of like 8 people, maybe like the steering committee of San Francisco or the Valley or Los Angeles or Orange County or Paris or London, and then they run it under a mandate, which is nobody gets paid and it's open to all people and it's $50. And we can still call it an angel breakfast. You could have angels get a ticket. They wear a badge that's a green for money, and everybody else, service provider, wears blue, and a startup wears green. No, red, blue, yellow, whatever. Anyway, give it blue for them and yellow for the purple, yellow for the service provider. So you go in, you know who everybody is, and then you present. It doesn't have to be like an accredited anything. It's just a presentation of these people are looking for money and everybody else is just listening. I think we could crush it with that. Oh yeah, look at this. And there's somebody's doing this twist wake up.
Oh, that's the phone. It calls you on.
Yeah, they had to do better quotes, a little longer.
There's an ad.
He took the ad off because it was too much.
Okay.
And then he also is using a robot voice on the Twist Wake Up, which is kind of annoying. They should just say at the end, from Twist Wake Up, and get somebody really nice to say it.
Yeah.
But somebody's got to cut better audio.
Need a good voice, man.
I do.
Look me up.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And we don't have homework this week from Audible, but I will say anybody who goes to audiblepodcast.com/twist, audiblepodcast.com/twist, TWIST, and signs up, will get the Mahalo pack, which includes all the great stuff, and a $20 bill, which means you get your second month free from us. The 50 people who already did this, that's going out this week, maybe Monday or Tuesday. They just did all the boxes. So you'll be getting one of these boxes. And if you want to get one of these boxes with all the Mahalo goodies in it, like the Mahalo gift bag, and Mahalo towel is in here.
Oh, the beach towel.
Beach towel, which is pretty sweet. And then there's some other stuff in here. Mahalo beach towel is pretty nice. Boom, we got the Mahalo logo, which is pretty iconic. Iconic Mahalo logo, Mahalo hat, like that. And you got the Mahalo mug and the Mahalo iPhone
Mahalo,
case.
yeah, iPhone.
You got everything.
Case.
So if you want, that's like $50 of the Mahalo swag. Plus you get a month off of that, and plus you support the show. So sign up, Audible. You have to sign up at audiblepodcast.com/twist, and we'll put the link on thisweekinstartups.com so you don't have to remember it, and blah, 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 blah.
There's an ongoing homework assignment, though, isn't there?
No, we did it, and the next one is going to be...
Someone has a good homework idea here, which is, because Gary's next week.
Oh, yeah.
To Crush It.
Is Crush It on Audible?
I don't think it is.
Can't do it then. We'll wait till it is on Audible. But why isn't it on Audible? I'm psyched that Gary's going to be here next week. That's going to be that show.
That's going to be a fun show.
It's going to be crazy.
It's going to be a good one.
It's going to be just 2 guys yelling and screaming for the entire
Yeah,
show.
it's 2 very excitable. You should bring in someone real mellow.
Okay, next.
News story?
News story.
This is more of a tech than a startup story, but I thought it was really fascinating. So the Finnish government has passed new laws this week guaranteeing broadband access for every citizen. They say they intend to ensure all Finns have access to 100 megabyte broadband connection by the end of 2015.
What?
Is high-speed internet a basic right? Would you like to see this in America?
Yes, I would like to see it in America. No, not a basic right. However, they have a small country where it's easy enough to do this. Australia had something similar to this where they were actually subsidizing people who were out in the outback to get them broadband. If we were smart, all this money that we gave to these banks and to these car companies, this would have been a much better use of it, I'll be honest. I gotta be honest. Even healthcare, I think it's much better.
Healthcare over internet.
I gotta tell you something.
I love the internet.
People be more informed. High-speed internet, I'll tell you why. High-speed internet, if we had 100 megabit to every single person in this country, and it would be a good investment to do,
I
along
agree
with
with
solar
that.
power and nuclear power. If we did those things, the country would be so prosperous because as the amount of people with broadband penetration goes up, the amount of commerce and ability to do commerce and competitiveness with the rest of the planet, knowledge, intelligence, wisdom, all this stuff would just skyrocket. So these other people are getting really smart about this, where they're realizing that this will be the catalyst for the future. It's sort of like laying down train tracks.
Right,
You know, you get train tracks in your country and you can move a lot of stuff around. I mean, great. You have highways. You have school systems. So yeah, it's very important infrastructure. And healthcare goes in that too. I mean, if people are healthier, they work more, they work better, they feel better about themselves, they're less concerned. So I'm a healthcare fan as well.
They don't have WebMD.
They don't have WebMD.
You could just look up your problem.
That'd be great. Oh, somebody wants to challenge me to Full Tilt of Poker for a heads-up match. Sounds like a Full Tilt sponsorship possibility. Okay, next.
Profile snaps. Profile snaps create brief profiles on public figures. It includes a short bio, tweets, news links, video, Google links, photos, and lets publishers install them in text. They embed a little line of code in their blogs, and then whenever that name pops up on their blog, you can hover over it and you'll see the profile snap, get a little context of what you're hovering over. And if Profile Snaps doesn't have a person in their database, they still act as a search about that person, so they'll feed you back the tweets, the news, the blogs, you just won't get the bio. Even if this service works perfectly and they get the word out, is there already too much competition in this category? It seems like there's a lot of other
There's a lot of people who have like Sphere and stuff like that does searches and stuff like that.
Well, I actually, there was a list, Answer Tips, Aperture, MashLogic, SmartLinks, Snapshots, and Zemanta all also do this similar thing.
There's not really much happening here. It's just a comprehensive search and a bunch of links. So
Right.
in its current form, not much going on. Not going to be very successful. What they're going to do, though, is they're going to put ads into it and you'll be able to monetize it. I wonder if I'm going to be able to claim mine and program mine, or if they're going to do it.
I think they actually, for now, they're doing it. They
It's a
actually
cute
have
idea.
people writing up the bio.
It's a cute idea. They'll put monetization on it like Sphere. It's been done already.
Yes, ads.
It's no
ads
different
is
than
definitely
Sphere,
the way that this would
which
monetize.
AOL bought, I think. Yeah.
MySpace. According to an article in their sister publication, The Wall Street Journal, MySpace intends to rebrand itself a social entertainment experience, touting site content like streaming Pearl Jam albums and celebrity blogs and surprise concerts and parties in places like San Francisco. So what do you think of this strategy, and is there any way MySpace will continue to function and earn money after its Google ad deal expires next summer? Is this their route to the next MySpace iteration?
I think that MySpace was originally about music and entertainment, so they're going back to the roots and trying to monetize that and make that the key field that people organize around, and the key thing is not a bad idea. It's one of my points. I think one of my points in my thing was that they should do this. I think more importantly would be virtual currency and actually games, casual games, but they got a bunch of people doing that, so I guess they don't need to center around that. But that's what I would, if I was focusing on, I made my list a year ago when people were speculating that I was going to get that job, which I really wasn't in the running for. I mean, they might have had me on a short list, but I wasn't really going to do, I should say. I think that the virtual currency and the casual games is going to be the number one thing. Maybe that's too difficult for them to do right now, and they got Zynga doing it and other people doing it, but yeah, it's going to be good, but I think the good news is they're moving quicker.
Right.
So we had Mike Jones on a couple weeks ago, and they're just starting to see product get released. They have a lot of resources, so I wouldn't count them out. And if they keep releasing product the way they are, they're going to maybe have a nice renaissance. I think the traffic's going to go. I think a year from now we're looking at more traffic and more participation. So after a couple of down quarters or a flat year, I think they're going to start growing again.
They've always been better, more associated with music, I think, than anything else. That's what
and movies. They're here in Hollywood, so I mean, if they, start streaming movies on there, and you can watch them with your friends, and you can listen to music, and you can pay for music. I mean, all these things will fit very naturally into it.
Makes sense.
I mean, they could have been YouTube, they could have been iTunes. I mean, there's a bunch of things that they could have done with the service. So one of the problems is when you have that many users, you can do so many different things that you never do anything really well. And they got to do a small number of things really well, as opposed to a lot of things maybe not so well.
Right.
There's nothing that we would say we have to log into MySpace for today.
No.
Facebook, we may have to log in because we may get business mail from it or personal, see our family's photos. And Twitter we have to do because for business and staying in touch with our friends. So that's the thing is, what's the must have?
Well, Facebook, I got to take the world's hardest Beatles quiz again. So
yeah, absolutely.
8 people have said
all right,
that.
final story since we've done over 2 hours of show.
LinkedIn. LinkedIn hit 50 million users this week. That last million came in the last 12 days alone. According to CEO Jeff Weiner, fully half of these users are from outside the U.S., including 11 million from Europe. To what do you attribute LinkedIn's massive success, and where do they go from here?
People looking for jobs, that's one. I mean, a lot of people are unemployed, looking for work, and I think people maybe are starting to hire again. It's the ultimate place to find high-quality people. I mean, Craigslist, you get a lot of garbage coming in. You know, you'll find some good people on there. But man, LinkedIn, nothing like it for finding like a professional, searching by vice president of marketing, or you know, a CTO or a PHP programmer, Python. I mean, you get so granular in finding people. It really is the best place to find a serious position, both on either sides. Find somebody for a serious position, or and I pay for ads on there. You know, for want ads, we get great response from it. You don't get a lot of response, but you get qualified. What do you think?
Every recruiters live on it. Like, I don't know. It's like it's changed their whole thing.
It seems, it seems to have had a lot of success reaching people who normally don't sign up for these kinds of networks.
Right.
Like my father was on LinkedIn years ago, and he's not on Facebook and Twitter.
Yeah. It's got 15 million people in the U.S. and 30 million people globally, according to Quantcast. Number 48 in the rankings. Pretty impressive. To be in the top 50 is. That means you've got 5% of the country.
It also should go internationally fairly well, where some social networks, you know, are bound by geography.
And even just culturally. Yeah.
And culturally, where this is like business is kind of international. So I think it'll have that potential for going horizontal across borders. And
I mean, Twitter's number 28, and Facebook is number 3 with 100 million U.S. people. So those are estimates because they don't actually quantify. It'd be kind of tough for them to quantify. That'd be a lot of service for Quantcast. But Quantcast is the bomb, huh?
Quantcast is great.
All right. That's a lot of show. Thank you for doing the news.
No problem.
Tyler, thanks for sitting in and giving your wonderful insights. Next week, Gary Vaynerchuk. Really looking forward to that. And all honesty, to the Ketsu Forum people, to Mike Segal, I don't know if you're good or bad people, but I do know a bad model when I see it. And it will cost you very little to do the right thing in this case. I'm not asking for much. The entrepreneurs who watch this program, they're not asking for much. They're asking for you to be reasonable. For you, the rich people, to just pay for the breakfast, pay for the infrastructure, whatever it is. If you're rich, you don't need to have the entrepreneurs pay. Okay? Remember when you were broke. Okay? Because I do, because it wasn't that long ago. And you had to hustle. And you don't got 1,500. You don't got 6,000. You don't got 5 large. You're not going to be able to pay this money. Remember those moments when you were coming up. Remember where you came from. And then you'll know what the right thing to do is. And the only reason you wouldn't know what the right thing to do is because you're so disconnected from your past, or you're a trust fund kid. In which case, I don't got any love for you anyway. This is Jason Calacanis for This Week in Startups. We'll see you all next week when our guest is Gary Vaynerchuk, and he's going to crush it. Peace.
With this time,